Show who you are. Good riddance. Is your kid in bid the forbidden? As it was written, you overbidding. With the heathens, karma is a bitch, so how you living? Pray for my enemies, unforgiving. Cast the pearls on hog moms and chitlin'. If it's too hot, get your ass out the kitchen. Finger licking good, good looking. Stewing in the stew, I'm cooking. You psyched out, paranoid and shookin'. Shook the table, spades I'm booking. Get prepared for this ass whooping. Listen to the words being spoken. You were talking, I'm awake and woken. While I'm spitting this, got your spit, got choking. Era of a glance in my world, eyes shut open. Parallel in my mind, I'm chosen. Reverse the time, heart frozen. Antarctica, cold as ice. Casting locks, rolling dice. Mean as nails, I'm nothing nice. They persecuted me like they rejected Christ.
Woo! That is my favorite song. So what's good, everyone? It's your man and your boy, your host with not so much the most, Classic Craig, on Paradigm Shift, powered by the whole effing show. And now we got something special. Another thing I would like to say before we start the show, I want to give a special shout out and thanks to DMG for having us on. We appreciate the brother, and I would like for everyone to pray and give a little special prayer or some type of psychic blessing or send something to the universe for the brother DMG. You know, because the brother is right now fighting to get things done perfectly so he can come right back to you guys on Paradigm Shift. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce everyone to the show of Shooting the Shit with the one and the only, the hottest sensation, Miss Imperial herself, the future of the whole entire thing of the show. I give it to the powerful prophetess, the Madam Matriarch herself, prophetess Mika Wash, washing all the bullshit away.
That's a great intro. I love that. I'm not on cam yet, y'all. Still trying to get myself together, but I'll probably get on cam. And thank you for having me on the show with this intellectual brother. That why don't you introduce him, Craig?
And I give a special shout out to this man right here. This guy is a unique and phenomenal individual. Okay, he has created a concept that is foolproof at the end of the day, right? This man understands psychology. This man understands social interaction. This man understands the dynamics of relationship to the point to where it can build or destroy a person. This man has decided to take his time, understand the psychosis of individuals sexually, mentally, and spiritually. This guy is the chairman, also known as the motherfucking chairman, powerful, and the enlightening Coach Goddamn Brodie, aka Coach Brodie. What it do?
Hey, shout out to y'all, man. Hey, 2023 dick ain't free.
Yes, sir. And before Brodie starts, I want to say this, right? Hey, check it out. DMG got some shows lined up, man. You know, he had a great interview with Vocab Malone. You know, shout out to Mr. Malone himself. I can't wait till he come back on Paradigm Shift to deal with Craig and Craig Law Firm. But Brodie and DMG will be having some shows together, and they will be quite exquisite. I'm going to put it to you like that. Without further ado, hey, Mika's bringing the heat. You know what I'm saying? Brodie is bringing the heat, and this is their show on Shooting the Shit, powered by the whole effing show and Paradigm Shift. Other than that, hey, this is your boy Classic Craig with only one jersey he's wearing, no other. I would like to say, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the show. Mika, it's all yours. All right, I'm out.
Thank you so much, Classic. I appreciate that. How you doing today, Brodie?
I'm well. I'm splendid.
Okay, so this I want to know, like, the audience want to know who you are. So can you tell us, who are you?
I am Coach Brodie, but see, Coach Brodie came from, I initially was a boxing coach. Starting at 19, I was the assistant coach in my boxing gym after being an undefeated amateur boxer. And then I went from there to, start living a BDSM lifestyle. And I was also a musical artist before a lot of different things. So my musical uh, persona, the name of my stage presence, the name of my stage name is Brodie Dharma. So I just mixed being a coach up with being Brodie Dharma, just called it Coach Brodie. So I give advice on psychology, sex, dating, and relationships, and boxing. That's what I do.
For the audience, could you please explain to us what BDS? What did you say BDSM or BDSM is?
Yeah, that's bondage, domination, and the S can stand for submission or sadomasochism, either submission, then masochism, or sadomasochism. So it's bondage, domination, submission, masochism, or bondage, domination, sadomasochism.
Okay, I might be a little bit. I mean, I'm not dumb, and I'm not. I don't know if I'm smarter than a fifth grader. But what is sadomac? What did you say? Mechanism.
So sadism is taking pleasure in delivering pain, and masochism is taking pleasure in receiving pain.
Oh, and people actually like receiving pain, huh?
Yes, there are. I think an important thing to understand about that is a lot of things that are included within the BDSM type of dynamics are
Mm.
things that occur, but most of the time, or maybe not all the time, but a good bit of the time that they do occur naturally within the wild, tend to be instances where it's without clearly communicated boundaries or a certain level of consent. So oftentimes, aspects of BDSM dynamics are things that people would associate naturally with abuse, but it's not something that people are consenting to and they desire.
Mm. Okay, and so do you teach BDSM or what is that?
Well, I'd say that a lot of my ideology revolves around a few different concepts. One of those concepts is sexual energy transmutation. Another one of those concepts is that I am in the liminal space with the things that I teach between hookup culture, long term relationships, and BDSM dynamics. So it's not always a matter of it being 100% BDSM. Some of it is just regular dating advice, but I use concepts and how they relate to everyday relationships to give verbiage to these concepts and ideas.
Wow, this is deep. Um, so can you go into more depth about these relationship ideas? I'm trying to get your graphs up here. Let me see.
So I think one of the main things that I really emphasize is that when it comes to relationships aren't like relationships. I'm a big believer in sexual polarity, right? But my personal philosophy is that sexual polarity isn't only founded on the concepts of masculine and feminine. There's also the concept of dominant and submissive, and that masculine energy stifles submissiveness, right? But it also adds concentration, focus, and principle dominance. Feminine energy lubricates submissiveness so that it can crave and experience domination and enjoy it. But feminine energy also corrupts dominance. These are some of the core tenets of my philosophy.
Okay, so I also want to if you don't give me I mean if you can give me a minute, I have two of my co-hosts here. They're part of the shooting shit crew. Do you mind if they come on now, or do you want to wait till later, or how do you want that to go?
Bring them out.
Okay, so right now I'm gonna bring out C. This is C Batter. She's one of my closest friends. We've been friends since high school, and I'm gonna add her, and then I'm gonna add Miyaka. She's also a close friend. I met her through C, but she became like a sister to me. Welcome, ladies, to the show. Hey,
Hey,
can you guys hear?
yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Hi.
C.
Hello.
y'all doing all right?
Hello, Miyaka. So, did you hear anything about what Coach Brodie was talking about, or you just got on?
I just logged on, so I only heard a little bit at the end.
Okay. So, do you want me to bring up some of your graphs, Coach Brody? Because I was able to email them to myself. I probably would just share my screen. Wait a minute. Let's just get right into it. So, I have this one about Mary, instinctual variance, dominant, I hear like an echo now. Which one would you like to show?
So if you were to have one random thing that y'all are interested about or curious about when it comes to male and female dynamics or dom sub
Mhm.
dynamics, I'm very big on psychology. So a lot of the foundation of things that I talk about, it didn't start off like that, but it ended up morphing into. I later on end up getting very enmeshed in the concept of Jungian psychology. So the thing about Mary and all that other stuff, that is the stages of anima development. But
Okay.
anima development. I also talk about the shadow a lot, and yeah, I talk about these different concepts.
Okay, well let's talk about it. Let's see. Can you explain this diagram here? Do you see that? Can you see that?
Yes, I see it. I see it.
Oh, can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
I just want to know, when the person been with somebody, because I heard you, and when the person been with somebody like over 20 years, and the relationship get rough, and you go back and forth, but you always in love, but you don't leave each other, but you gotta find some healthiness within the sex life. How do you find that when your mind is going erratic? Like, how do you find that?
Uh, also, you have to understand sexual.
I can't hear you.
You have to understand sexual energy transmutation, and that's very important to understand. What you feed will grow, and what you starve will die. I was making a video about this the other night. So one thing that really helps with this is you have to have a couple of different things. You need to have a baseline of attraction. You need to have a certain level of safety, and then you also need to protect your submissive ego. By doing that, you'll be able to sustain it. Now, what those three things mean is understand that the sex life that you have is going to be predicated mostly upon these two things: intimacy and polarity. Intimacy and polarity. And those are two separate things, because you can have polarity without having a certain level of emotional safety and intimacy, and you can have emotional safety and intimacy without polarity. And typically, what happens over the course of a long term relationship is one of those two things goes down.
Okay.
I agree.
Can you explain this polarity thing for me?
So, when I talk about polarity, I speak about it from the perspective of understanding both masculine feminine dynamics and dom sub dynamics. So having understood roles within your dynamic, it allows there to be a structure for things to move forward. But what oftentimes gets in the way of it is the development of the animus and the development of the anima, right? Now, the animus is a woman's relationship to her own logic, as well as her relationship to how she views men in general. And this is something that's going to affect a woman's capacity to understand the mind of a man based off of how she perceives men in general. And a man's anima is going to be predicated on how he relates to his own emotions, how he processes his emotions, as well as how he views women in general and how he relates to the woman in his life. So when we're talking about the anima and the animus, this is where things can oftentimes become an issue. If a man gets emotionally invested in a woman, uh, he has a perspective of who he sees her as. There's a narrative in his mind, right? And if there is a narrative in his mind, there's something very important to understand is this, right? That if that woman breaks that narrative in his mind, then he's probably going to become anima possessed or shadow possessed. And for a woman, if the man breaks the narrative in her mind, then she becomes animus possessed or she becomes shadow possessed, right? And this is what we have to understand. When the safety is broken, that's where animus possession and anima possession comes up. But where there's a lack of polarity, this is where shadow possession comes up.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand this shadow possession. I don't understand.
So shadow possession is about not being able to integrate your shadow. That means that there are things within your dark side that have positive attributes. And if you are too heavily socially programmed, then you may have what I call a gentleman gigolo complex or a Madonna whore complex. And what that does is it causes you to have an inability to experience the peak of both intimacy and polarity on a sexual level with someone who you're interacting with, because you will limit them based off of your perspective of how you perceive the model of that relationship based off of how close you. So
Mm.
let's say one rule I have is this, right? I believe that if you're in a relationship, there should be nothing that you're willing and open to doing with someone who you're not closer to than someone who you are more invested in. And this is very important to understand.
Um. Okay, so what is this? Eve, Helen, Mary, Madonna, and Sophia. Who are these people?
So these are the 4 stages of anima development for a man, right? It starts off with Eve, that represents the physicality of a woman, the biology of a woman, her capacity to be a mother, her capacity to be a sexual partner, just the nature of a woman as far as her physicality. What Helen represents is the stage of the anima development in which a man relates to a woman on more of a romantic level, because Eve represents the physicality of a woman. Helen represents artistry within a man. It also represents having a romantic relationship with a woman, like dating, because there is the Hellenistic age in which there would be soldiers and there would be these women who would represent, Helen, and like Helen of Troy, and these men would utilize the woman as a muse, and he would go to the woman after wartime, and he would write her poetry, maybe sing songs to her. They would go out and have a good time, and it would also be a sexual relationship. And then we get into Mary, right? Mary or Madonna. Now, what Mary and Madonna represent is that Mary is the platonic love, right? When you have platonic, a love that transcends sex, that's when you have Mary, right? And that's Madonna, right? And then you have Sophia, which represents the wisdom of God, right? And when your anima is developed well enough to get beyond a certain level of social programming when it comes to how you view and perceive women, and you become flexible in your understanding of feminine energy and the nature of feminine energy, then you have a better relationship to your own emotions. So what Sophia represents is having the wisdom to have the capacity to relate to and understand a woman, and to cohabitate or to interact with a woman without your nature as a man being something that feels as if it is in competition with a woman's femininity. So it's 4 stages of the anima development for a man.
Um. This is kind of deep.
It's very deep, but I kind of
Can we
understand it on a
talk right
surface level.
now?
You could talk. You could talk.
I
Talk.
do.
Okay, what I
Let
was
me tell you,
asking
it is very
was,
deep.
no, I need to ask him something because he is really like hitting some points, but I need to know how far he is gonna go into these points because you know the animal attraction of having sex when you first meet to where it died down and then it started back and then it died down. But all the things that you have went through, what do you gotta say about that?
Uh, throw a monkey wrench in here, real.
What happened?
I'm about to throw a monkey wrench. So I'll say this: not every form of Stockholm syndrome and trauma bond is a bad thing.
Right.
So when you've been with somebody for a long time, there's a concept I call "let that hurt go dick" and "let that hurt go pussy." Right now, typically, what happens is the hurt that you, it causes a lack of safety, and through that lack of safety and through that comfort, that complacency that comes with knowing somebody for a long time, you're unable to tap into that raw animalistic sexuality that you previously had with this individual. But typically what happens is this energy gets built up. People don't understand how people are, so they have this grass is green on the other side mentality, and they meet someone new, and then they release all of this pent up energy and frustration to get their mind blown sexually, or to blow the mind sexually of a new individual, and feel as if they're more compatible with the next person when they probably aren't. So what
Okay.
happens is,
Oh, sorry.
so what can happen is, if there are hurts, you want to make sure that you don't overwork love. But if there are hurts within your relationship and you're able to reestablish a certain level of safety afterwards, if you're able to make love, you can make up. but you got to have making love and you got to have fucking, right? Like you got to get slutted out, and
Right. Right.
but you can never stop that.
But it's been doing that for a long time.
Well, you
And I just can't understand how I could be with a man so long. Like, we fall out of love, won't even touch each other, won't even look at each other, but the next minute it's just going back to where we when we first met.
I mean, that's a good thing. You just a program. You have to step right.
I
Got to
can't hear you. What you say?
got to in a positive feedback loop. The positive feedback loop is what's going to make the cycle of energy sustainable.
I'm
So,
sorry, Brody. I'm sorry.
Can I have a?
Um, Let me
Go
just
ahead.
interject real quick. Let me just let the audience know that at the end of this interview, we will drop a link if you guys want to ask some more questions. But we want to go into depth with Brody, and also see after you ask your question, I respond to him. Mute your mic because it's giving off a feedback.
I know that's because I went to the bathroom. She's in my room. But
Okay.
we won't have no more of that problem. I just used the restroom.
can somebody post can you post the cycle of energy? It's either cycle of energy or sexual energy transmutation that has the instinctual variance. Can you post that?
Yes. Hold on. Give me a second.
Okay, and while she's posting that, can I speak?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted to give you my perspective on what I feel like you're saying. You're kind of deep, but think, what I take from it is that you're saying that, okay, when it comes to, like, basically you have to just let yourself go. In How can I put it? Like, you have to, when you say, like, as far as the energy with somebody, or if you've been with a person and you can't, like, you could be hurt, but you truly, in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, you have to let it go. If you let it go, anything can come back and be good. Is that what you're saying?
Somewhat, but not completely. What I'm saying is that what you don't is to take that frustration or the energy
Uh-huh.
and then pour that in. That's what I'm saying. If you're able to take the pain and frustration that you experience to empathize and understand the point of view of your partner and then to release that, then you can establish a certain polarity and intimacy. But it's
Right.
the cycle. But what I will also say is this: women need emotional variety, right? So sometimes women will get frustrated about certain things in relationships, not understanding that their frustration is part that draws them into. If he never got him, you wouldn't fuck with him.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, Brody? See, stop unmuting your mic while you're talking.
Because I'm not saying anything.
Your mic is giving. Hold on. Your mic is giving back feedback. So please, I know you. I mean, I understand you're not saying anything, but your mic is giving off feedback, and we can't hear what the brother is saying. So just keep your mic muted when he talk, and then when you ask the question, then mute your mic again. Go ahead, brother. Can you repeat that? Because I didn't get a good, clear understanding what you were saying.
So it's really about the cycle of energy, right? Uh, Women need emotional variety. Let's keep that above. So if you're frustrated with a man, but you have to understand that any strong emotion can be transmuted. The only emotion that can't be transmuted is indifference. Now, indifference can be broken through safety, right? But any other emotion other than like safety or maybe disgust, even disgust if somebody's a very high level sexual alchemist, but outside of that, it has to be done through transmutation. I'm going to break, you know what? I think what we need to do is make this video a crash course on sexual energy transmutation. I think
Wait a
that's
minute. I need to ask this though. What is a high level? What did you call it? A high level sexual something. What did you say?
sexual
I try to
alchemy.
keep up with these terms, Brody.
Sexual alchemy.
Yeah, how do you do the sexual alchemist? How are you a high level sexual alchemist? Like, do they have like a criteria, or what do they possess? Like what's their characteristics? Because I think I might be that, you know.
It's about your mindset. So it's not really no real super mystical magical shit. It's about understanding your mind, understanding the mind of the other person, and being able to take a strong emotion and make it sexual energy. The easier that emotion can be transmuted into sexual energy, the lower your understanding of sexual alchemy has to be. So you have to also know yourself. What type of person are you? What headspace and emotional space turns you on the most? So if being happy is what turns you, then if the person knows how to make you happy, or if you know how to make yourself happy, then it opens up your energy for sexual energy to flow, right? But some men, especially serial dickmatizers, right, know how to take your frustration, know how to take your sadness. Listen, if you're hungry, you eat some dick. If you're sleepy, dick can make you sleep better. You get what I'm saying? But there has to be a high enough level of sexual attraction and safety for those things to take place.
But most men think that dick is the cure for everything.
It's not. It's not the cure for everything. Man, but that's a good thing, because when you're out in public, you have to understand that if you're a good partner, if your partner's a good partner, people are vultures out here. People can smell weakness in the energy of the sexual dynamic between you and your partner if they are themselves sexual alchemists or if they are predators, right?
Mm.
You ever heard Make It Clean Up Woman by Betty Wright?
Yes. She's a clean-up woman. It's
Okay,
a
Okay, I gotta
woman.
step in. I heard that too.
let me
I'm gonna
ask you a
cut it off, but
question.
I just wanted to say I heard that too.
Since
But
we, since,
take me where you're going, Brody.
let me ask you a question. Since we asked some questions, do you believe that some that having sex with someone can balance your hormones and like heal heal you a little bit?
Yeah, that's part of what sexual energy transmutation is. Well, that's part of why and how I got into BDSM, because a lot of how BDSM works for me and how I implement it is kind of like exposure therapy. So
Mm,
I have this for years. Well, I spent like 1 year mostly monogamous, but that was by choice. And I didn't do it. I felt but one of those things where I deal with a woman who's been hurt by the fact that a man dealt with cheated. But if I meet that woman and I arouse her adequately and I present myself in a way where she experiences the truth of who I am, I'm thorough with how I move with a woman. And she knows I have other women, but it's kind of like that song by the SOS, right? Just be good to me. You know that song right there, right?
right.
So in those situations, the honesty, the safety of the situation, and the fact that I know how to carry myself dealing with multiple women and still manage those women. If I'm dealing with a woman, and she knows I have other women, eventually it creates a scenario where the fact that I don't treat her differently because other women are involved, it allows her to have the opportunity to be attracted to the fact that I'm sleeping with other women, even women who would never be cool with that type of thing. Or here's another example: degradation, right? The degradation
Uh,
king.
just to pause you real quick, Coach Brody.
Hello. Can I pause right quick? Cause I really need to hear this one more time.
Wait a minute, hold on. I have to
No,
make an
he's
announcement.
speaking nothing but facts.
Right, I have to just make an announcement real quick, Brody. Can you get somewhere where you have a better connection? Because it's like going in and out, and the audience is saying your sound is going in and out.
That might be my phone.
I'm just letting him know so we can hear what he's saying.
No, I'm saying, come on. I'm not doing anything. I'm not being disruptive. I'm just trying to be here when he talking, cause I really need to respond when he's saying something.
Okay, you can say what you gotta say.
I okay. Thank you. Okay, he moving somewhere so he could get to a better place because he been skipping in and out the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. But
Look,
if somebody other than Mika's phone is on, if phone isn't muted, it'll give me an echo.
Well, I'm only hearing the echo feedback from C's mic. So, just go ahead, Brody. Just keep talking. We don't want to keep worrying about the minor technical difficulties. We could re-upload this with better sound. So just go ahead.
So what I'll say is this right here. What was the last thing we talked about just now? I forgot.
We were talking about alchemy and sexual deviants and
We
predators.
no, the last sorry to interrupt you, but the last thing you were talking about is how you can be with a female and as long as you treating her a certain type of way, even though she knows you mess with other women, it's going to begin to be an attraction for her. That's the last thing you were saying.
Yeah, that okay. I remember the next thing I was going to say. I was going to talk about the degradation kink. Right now,
Mhm.
this animus development is so important. Right, this is where these things are so important because there are things locked with the psyche of a woman and of a man where when you meet someone on social programming type of terms, that oftentimes you will limit yourself or limit the other person and how far you're willing to take. It's like one woman may say, I meet this one man and I'm cool with having one night stands, but because I like this guy, I won't do it with him. So if if
Here is something else.
if he finds out about that shit, he's not gonna trust you. But if you can't tell him all of who you truly are, think, believe, and feel, and really prefer, then you're not gonna feel safe with him because you can't express who you truly are. The man who what you truly think, feel, desire, and prefer is the man who's closest to you. But it's a trade off, right? It's a trade off because when it comes to safety, men have their own sense of safety. And if a man feels like he's invested in you, but another man's getting a higher sexual return on investment than he is, and he knows about it, he's not going to feel safe enough with you to be vulnerable with you, unless he's a cuckold. And if you don't respect the man as the cuckold, just keep your pussy to yourself.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Now, you just said that, right? Hello?
Yeah.
So that means that a man don't have to respect the women at all?
There's different levels of
That's
respect.
what you just said.
No, I said there's four levels of. I'll say this: 4 levels of respect, right? The 4 levels of respect. Go ahead, mute your mic real quick, so I don't have that echo. So, the 4 levels of respect are respecting someone as a sentient being, respecting someone as a human being, respecting someone as a masculine figure, and respecting someone as a leader. Right now, the truth of the matter is this: as a woman, or if you are feminine in nature or submissive in nature, because the quadrant is not gendered, but if you are feminine or submissive at nature, you do not want to deal with somebody who overly respects you as a masculine figure, because if they respect the principles that you have, but those principles are just animus possession or trying to protect yourself through a defense mechanism of trying to control the narrative of how you're viewed, then you're only going to hurt the relationship if you're not going to hold yourself to that standard. So like, let's say you meet a man, and you say, "Oh, I'm not that type of girl. I don't do that." If he ever finds out that you've ever done that after the fact, he's not gonna fuck with you like that. Like, you know what I mean? He's not gonna trust you. So it's good to be honest, but also to attracted to.
Listen to this. And this is what I always tell people. And you saying it in a way that I just say, don't be no damn, the person that you meet, like when you go out like when you out at a bar or when you out doing whatever. I'm forgetting the word right now, but what I'm saying, you don't need a front person to deal with your own personality. That's what I'm trying to say. But this is what it is. Like, don't never have a front person for youth. You gotta be who you are.
That's true.
And that's it. And that's
The
all.
way,
That's what
the,
you're saying.
right, and yeah, because basically the way I put it, mute your mic. See, the way
I thought everybody get muted. I was talking, but everybody trying to, okay, you know what? I'm gonna mute myself for the rest of the night. Okay.
I'm gonna still
right,
need again because you asked some good questions. It's only your phone that causes the echo right now. We can't control that.
right. So
So,
basically,
go
the
ahead.
truth is the truth. You know how they say, like the truth always come out. The truth is gonna always who you are will always come out, and when it come out, then the person gonna always have something. They don't have to if they choose to let it go, but a person is gonna always have that, looking at you side eye like, oh, I
Yeah,
know you can lie because you already did it.
I think what C was trying to say, like the person's representative.
Yeah, that
Is that
represents.
what you were saying? I see the person's
Yes,
representative.
yes, yes, yes.
Uh,
And I'm gonna mute my mic again. But I'm glad that you're my friend because you heard exactly what the fuck I said.
Is
Mhm.
that representative? But the thing about it is this is hard because when we're talking about these things as a woman, uh, even if you're naturally more feminine or naturally more submissive, the the predatory inclination within a woman is going to be to take advantage of whatever a man is going to offer.
No, feminine and what you said, submissive, they the same fucking thing.
No, no, it's not. It's not. The whole point
On my mama, it is.
is not.
Because a will be a submissive woman. That means every day she gonna do everything for her man. Everything that he wants. She's
I'm,
gonna
I'm,
iron his clothes. She's gonna make sure that whole house is clean, swept. When he come home, he don't have to worry about nothing. But guess what that man gonna do after all of that? Guess what that man gonna do? Because you understand that babies be born every day, and it's more baby girls than baby men. So therefore, that's why it's already wrote that the man will always he will always do his loins. He got to do that because he don't know what he want. He don't know what he want till he know what he want, and that's the
I'll say
fact.
that polarity
That's
will always polarity will always balance itself out. The one of the main tenets. I'm writing a book about it. Masculine and dominant are not the same thing. Feminine and submissive are not the same thing. You could be feminine without being submissive, and you could be submissive without being feminine, right? And I think that's very important to understand. If you are an individual who makes a logical decision based off of what you're getting out of it, to submit what you're doing to the will of another individual, but it doesn't come from a place of desire or internal respect, that's masculine submissive and stifles your submissiveness. And it's based off of
hold on, sir. Can you keep it as we just debating? Can you keep it as we just debating? And that's all I want to know because you a man and I'm a woman, and we talking about two different sides of the spectrum. So
We're
can we
not
keep it as
debating
that?
right now. Wait a minute. Let me pause you for a second.
start
This
right
is
here.
not a debate. This is an interview.
It's
This
not a
is
debate.
for him to share the knowledge that he came with.
Yeah.
No,
So I'm
I know, I understand, and I respect his knowledge that he coming with, but we just gotta talk it all out. And if he love us, he love us, and if he don't, he don't.
yeah,
Okay. Wait, let me mute you real quick, serious.
I'm not here to debate
So
with
my
anyone.
thing, I'm sorry.
Everybody chill out real quick.
Go
I don't
ahead.
debate with anyone. I'm a teacher on this particular subject. I'm a coach on this particular subject, and I'm not here to debate with anyone. I love everybody. Everything's all cool. But I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to be doing a whole bunch of back and forth on here. I'm not going to be doing that. So let's make sure that's understood. We're going to have order in here.
Okay. Can we do one thing and play the video that he asked to be played? The video on the transfer of energy.
Oh, that video long as hell. I don't know if we want to play that video unless you didn't cut a clip out already.
I thought you
Um,
said you wanted to play it.
we
No, I
can
said
we can if you
we.
got some points in the video, we can pull the video up. I could fast forward it, rewind, whatever you need me to do on that. I could do that. If you could remember like some key points or whatever.
Okay. Or else just can we just talk about that? Can you
Yeah, we
speak on
We
that?
talk
could just we could
because
just play
I want to
portions
talk
and
about
respond
it.
to it.
my
Uh,
videos. My last video was hour 44, right? So yeah, my video is pretty long, so we don't want to do that right now. But we everything I talk about, I remember because I don't script my videos. I just go.
okay. So I guess well just let me just reiterate because you're saying and I
That's
just want to
that
make sure
shit.
that you're clear that we're clear right here, right? Okay. Okay, I'm getting a little all right. With the dot with see, please keep your mic muted for a second. So with the feminine why does she keep doing that? Please
You
keep
know
your
why I keep doing it? Because I'm quiet. I haven't said a word.
okay.
I'm letting you do it.
If you can't keep your mic mute, then I'm gonna have to remove you from the stream because it's
That's
giving out the
fine. That's fine.
okay. Anyways, let me just say what I gotta say. She had some good questions I wanted her to ask, but I just don't have the patience right now. So What I wanted to say was with the feminine and masculine, we're just talking about energies, right?
As we're talking about motivations,
Mm-hmm.
priority of your motivation, right? So to be masculine means you're more focused on the structure or what you're doing. And to be feminine means you're more focused on how you feel and how you feel about a specific person. So feminine is about who you're with, masculine is about what you're doing.
So masculine is logical and feminine is emotional.
Yes, but masculine is also focused on the principle and feminine is focused on the person.
That's a wonderful way to. That's a good way to
I
put it.
like that.
I like that also.
Okay, so when it comes to so then let me just be clear because we were talking about this, me and the two Craigs, we were trying to figure it out from the last video. So this so I'm clear. You could be masculine and submissive. Is that possible?
Yes, you can be masculine. Most people, most common role within the quadrant is masculine submissive. That's the most widely spread role.
Okay. And then you could be feminine dominant, right?
Yes,
And then you could be feminine submissive
yes,
and you could be masculine dominant.
yes. And there's also four other roles, which is the masculine submissive exercise and self control, the masculine dominant exercise and self control. I'm not going to get into that one too much, but that gets more pimping territory. And then we got the integrated masculine and the integrated feminine.
Wait,
So
one of them, the masculine dominant that exercises self control, does that have anything to do with what does it call it? Sperm retention or something? Retention?
a little bit, not completely, but a little bit.
Okay.
So all of these things they have certain aspects of sexual energy transmutation. So what I do need to break down is that there are different cup spaces. Y'all know about cup theory.
No,
No,
I
I
don't.
don't.
So there's a low cup space,
Oh,
there's middle cup space, there's the high cup space, then there's the overflowing cup spaces, right? So when it comes to a low cup space, that's masculine, submissive, and feminine dominant. Polarity will always balance itself out, right? So if you're masculine submissive, you're going to feel the most drawn towards somebody who's feminine dominant, right? This is why we have to hold ourselves accountable for the energy space that we're in. Why is the masculine submissive most attracted to the feminine dominant? Because when you're masculine submissive, as a woman, especially if you're a woman or a man, but if you're a woman and you're masculine submissive, then you're not going to be compatible with a masculine man because your masculine energy is going to clash with each other. So a man who's willing to focus on you, but who's still dominant and uses manipulation or force or pressure to circumvent your social programming is going to be the person who's able to get the closest to you rather than someone else who's masculine submissive or someone who's masculine dominant, because masculine dominance will feel too abrasive. Think about it like this, right? Think about submissiveness as a pussy. Think about dominance as a dick, right? uh think about masculine as something that's rigid and feminine as something that's wet, right? So masculine energy stifles submissiveness. If you are masculine submissive, it's like you have a dry pussy. So if you're dealing with a masculine dominant, it's like you got a big hard dick that's in a dry pussy. It's gonna hurt, right? But if you get turned on enough, it's gonna feel good. So the thing to understand is that if you're in a low cup space, it's delusional to expect to be with someone who's in a higher cup space than you are. It's not impossible, but it's not going to just naturally occur most of the time.
All right. So, Brody, I just dropped the link in the chat. So everybody, anybody, if you guys want to come on and ask some questions, the link is in the chat. And I want to ask a question to you, Brody, Coach Brody.
Yes.
Because I'm still trying to understand everything. I'm just a little bit lost, but I'm just talking about my own personal experiences or whatever. What happens and what does it mean where you have two people who have a sexual attraction towards one another, but they both are waiting for the other one to make the first move, and both of them are being stubborn about making the first move?
What are you doing? So are y'all just fucking or are y'all just friends?
It's a whole podcast.
What do you mean?
Wait to make
It's more. It's more than that. Like, but it's like, okay. So I mean, I was in a situation where we were more. I don't just be fucking. That's just be clear. Like, always in somebody's relationship. So I was in a situation where we were both waiting. Like okay. The reason why because I usually before this particular relationship, the previous relationships I was in, the men are always the aggressor, right? But I feel like after some point in the relationship, I could initiate the sex sometimes, right? But in this particular situation, he wanted me to initiate the sex all the time to the point where I wasn't getting pleasure out of it. So then I was just like, well, if he don't initiate, then I'm not initiating.
Okay, so that's a power struggle right there, and the power struggles come from being out of polarity.
Mm.
Like when you're not in polarity with somebody, you don't accept what your role is. I'm gonna say
Can
something.
we clap?
What do you say?
I said, can we clap?
Go ahead.
All right.
So the thing to understand, I'm about to say something controversial real quick.
Go ahead.
It's actually feminine to chase.
Wait, sorry, repeat that.
Yeah,
It's
say that again.
it's feminine to chase.
It's feminine to
What do
chase.
that mean?
I believe that.
How?
I
I
believe
thought
that.
men are hunters by nature.
They are.
But your
But if
man
you don't
should
let them
never be
hunt,
on
they
you more
can't
than you
hunt.
on him.
If you don't let them hunt, they cannot hunt.
But the thing about it is this right here: when you're hunting, the animal's not consenting to you hunting them.
Right. And that's
Right.
what I'm telling her. If you don't let them hunt, they cannot hunt.
Exactly.
So
But
since
it's
you have
really not a hunt.
so
No, not if you're gonna give up.
one, feminine submissive is about intrinsic desire and intrinsic reward. If your desire doesn't override your social programming to say I want him more than I want to do things my own way, then even if you feel like you're being somewhat submissive, that submissiveness is stifled. And
You
if that
know what you're saying? You know what you're saying? Can I just cut it off right quick? You
go
know
ahead,
what you're saying?
go
That's
ahead.
how all of our parents have, like, not our parents, but the parents before them. That's how they lived. That's how they had a successful life in marriage. That's how they had everything going because they let the hunter do the hunting. They let the person that's supposed to do the working do the working. And everybody don't want to hear that because now it's, oh, I'm independent. You can spell it any kind of way you want to.
I'll say
And
this.
women is not letting them do that no more.
I'll say this.
Women wanna, oh, I wanna work, I wanna do this, I wanna do that. You could do it, but just not with me here.
I'll say this. I think a big thing that we have to understand is y'all understand the concept of the age of Aquarius.
I'm not an Aquarius.
I said the age of Aquarius.
No.
I believe that we used to be in more of a masculine submissive zeitgeist, like the energy of the times, maybe back 60, 70 years ago, was one where most people had to live a masculine submissive lifestyle and were okay with that in order to survive.
Right.
So everything was kept out of the light and information wasn't exposed. People could live a lifestyle that they weren't happy with, but they knew that's what they had to do to survive. That's not necessary anymore. So it's not that relationships are worse than they used to be. It's just that people don't have the need for survival through that relationship in order to maintain and sustain themselves anymore. So now that women have the right and the freedom to fuck who they want and to make their own money, now is a situation where they don't have the obligation of being in a situation and who they may not actually be sexually attracted to. And then plus, when you expose yourself to certain levels of sexuality, it raises your sexual palate. So let's say you are a young woman and you meet a man and he's pursuing you, he treats you well, you're attracted to him, may not be super, super hot, but you're attracted to him. Now, if that's the only thing that you're exposed to, then that's the best dick you ever had, right? But once your sexual palate gets raised above a certain level, you need all of the positive characteristics of someone who's willing to invest in you, plus also having someone who can stretch you sexually.
Yeah,
And
you ain't lying. You are,
Hello? Hello?
you
yeah,
are
Can I
telling the
talk?
truth.
Wait a
Can
minute,
I
hold
talk?
on. Let him finish, please, because I had a question. I wanted to
I'm
ask you.
sorry. I'm gonna let him finish, but I need to talk. Okay, bye. I'm gonna go on mute.
Thank you. Have you ever heard that saying, "Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun"?
yeah, I heard that before, but
Oh,
I don't have an issue with it. But what I will say is this right here: it means that now things are a little bit more out in the wild. You know, like I don't have an issue at all. Like I support certain aspects of feminism, like women having their own money, women having sexual freedom. I appreciate those things, but I also understand that the type of man I am, I take advantage of that. Oh, you independent? All right, yeah, cool. Dick ain't free. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, yeah. You like to fuck around?
Oh my God, I gotta get off of
Exactly.
you because right,
Let
and
me
that's
tell you
what they
because
did. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. So, are you
I'm
a
sorry,
gigolo,
Brody.
Brody? Are you
No,
a
I'm
gigolo?
sorry, Brody, but this is a good interview that we having right now, and you gotta know that I got freedom of speech too. This is where you need to be and where I need to be, so we can really chop this shit up. This is so crazy,
I got asked if I was a
and
gigolo.
I know you for everything
I
that
asked
you're
you that.
saying.
I asked you that because you said dick ain't free.
And pussy ain't free either. And we already know that dick ain't free because guess what? Them strippers in there working hard
wait,
at
let
their
me say,
job.
see,
No,
let
can
me
I
say
finish?
something.
Can I
Look,
finish? Can I finish? Them strippers in there working hard at their job. Right or wrong, Brody. I know how many strip clubs you probably been to or not.
I've
It's
listen.
but you know your homeboys didn't been the one if you haven't, right?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've never paid for pussy. I've never as much as taken a woman out on a date to have casual sex, and I've never been to a strip club.
But how many friends you know have done that?
What they do ain't got shit to do with me.
I know, no, it don't. But what
I ain't,
I'm saying is, what you just explained right now got into my brain, right? And I'm gonna tell you something.
okay, so
The
let me
male
ask you a question,
strippers.
Brody.
No, I'm not. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Let's be clear. Go ahead and ask your question, Miyaka.
No, I'm gonna go on mute, and y'all can ask all the questions you like. But Brody, you my nigga because you just did something that let me know that you here in my headspace.
oh, that ain't no problem.
Okay, wait. You just said you never took a female on a date. You said you never paid for pussy. You never took a female on a. You say you never took her on a date for casual sex, or you never took a female on a date. Period. I mean, which I got confused on that part.
I on dates, I do that. But my thing is,
Oh,
I've never taken a woman out on a date with my intentions of being casual sex. I've never done that.
oh, okay, okay. I get it. I got you. I was gonna say, well, what do you do for the pussy? Because you
This
got
is
to be doing something.
a
But see
dominant.
that date, I think he's saying because when he took the girl on a date, it wasn't for
It
pussy. It was
wasn't
for
for
more
that. So,
than
but that's
pussy.
gonna get you the pussy
So
right
am I
there.
being too forceful? Cause y'all keep putting me on mute. I'm asking all the good questions.
You are asking a
I'm
question.
gonna have to remove her for a second because
Hey,
I don't want to do the back and forth arguing because this is more a professional. I know she want to talk, but let me just keep it. Come on, please.
No.
so I'll put it like this, right? For me, dick ain't free. Like what I'm saying is, I know for a fact that with my skill set, with my experience, ain't nothing some woman pussy gonna do that's better for me than what my dick gonna do for her. So I'm not even
Wait,
looking.
what?
Yeah, no, it's not gonna
Wait,
happen.
hold on. Stop the show. Oh no, we can't broadcast this because what did you say? What did you say?
I said
And I'm gonna explain to you how it is.
it's not.
Are you something else?
What you mean something else? What does that mean?
You are something else. Now, what did you just say right now?
I said there's nothing a woman's pussy can do for me that my dick can't do for her and better. So I
Are
don't
you serious right now?
take that serious.
I feel
Oh,
like that
well,
about my vagina.
I guess. Wait, what?
I said I
I
feel
feel
like
like
that
that
about my
about me as
vagina.
a person.
No, he said whatever his dick do for you is gonna trump what you do for him. Did you hear that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Y'all acting like y'all don't hear that.
Well, I feel like that about myself. I mean, you can't be mad
Yeah,
because he felt like that.
right. Me too.
Uh,
Exactly.
I
But
don't feel like that.
both
Well,
people,
I'm saying like if you
both,
know that you could pleasure people in a certain way, and you have a gift of pleasure every person you ever encounter, and you know that you can always
Do we have
do it,
proof on that?
huh?
Do we have proof?
I don't need proof from him doing that because I'm not
No, do
touching
we
him.
have proof on him? Because every woman likes something different. So, do we have proof that he have pleasured every woman he have slept with?
I'll say this right here. I do have
Uh,
proof, say proof of every single one. But what I will say is this:
how many? How many? How many?
well, one, I ain't about to tell my exact body count, but what I will say is this right here.
Oh, a body count matters right now. When you said that, that all goes together.
Hold up. I'll say at least 1/3 of every single woman I've ever stuck my dick in was crying when she was having orgasms.
Crying.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe she was crying because it was horrible. Maybe she was crying because of this. Maybe she was crying because of that. You don't know why she was crying.
I know exactly why they was crying. Don't act dumb.
Oh, because how long is your dick?
Oh
Which,
Lord.
Let her
I'm
talk.
asking a
No.
real
Let her get it out
question.
the fucking
I'm asking a real
way.
question. He bring it out, bring it out, bring it out.
Oh.
It's hard to yell when the bear was in your mouth. So bring it out.
would you say?
I said, you said that the women that you have been with cry every time, like each and every one.
Not every single.
And I know it's a good bitch out there that can take that dick. So how long is it?
Hold up, you asking me how big dick is? I'll say
Yeah,
this.
I'm asking.
I'll say this. I'm definitely above average. I'm not gonna get into no specific numbers on no live video.
Above average. That means you past 10, right?
If you think 10 inches is above average, you must not have had a lot of
It
dick.
gotta be above average. Cause a woman with our uterus and our vaginal cave, if you above 10, that means she cried because it was hurting so fucking bad.
Well, let me put it like this: the average penis is about five. Well, I'll say this: the average penis is between 4.5 and 6 inches.
You right about no, it's between 4 and 5 inches.
But it's between 4 and 6 inches. I'm a sex
Four
coach.
and 5 inches. Look it up on Google.
I looked it up.
Because everybody use Google these days.
Hold on, listen. Now check this out.
But if
Oh,
you went to school, you would know how much the average penis is.
now check this out, right? The average is 5.2 inches, but I say between 4.5 and 6 because there's different studies. You have Kinsey's, you have the lifestyle study.
Yeah, because we got our African people that got big dicks. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Now check this out right here,
Now,
right?
do you want to go into that?
I'm a sex coach, but what I will say is this right
You
here.
could be a sex coach all you want to, but you only got
Hold on.
one dick.
Wait.
Pausing.
I'm
I'm
enjoying,
pausing it right now. Go ahead, Brody.
I'm enjoying the
No
conversation.
pause because he's talking to me.
Okay, I'm pausing you. Hold
Why
on.
would I be paused if he talking?
Uh, I'm
I'm
finna.
enjoying that you're asking, but this is your last time cutting me off when I'm talking. You're getting kicked the fuck off the show.
I'm so sorry for that, Brody. Go ahead.
Yeah, because we're not gonna do it disrespect. We're not gonna do that. So the average is between 4.5 inches and 6 inches, but the average from the biggest study that was seen is about 5. In my experience, and I have more than this, right? So I'll just say this: I'm not gonna say what I got, but I got more than that. Like with all the women that I've dealt with, most of the women I dealt with, I say about 80%, they bottom out aroused at about 6.5 to 7 inches, right? That's where I hit their cervix. Now I know about giving about 4 different types of vaginal orgasm penetration, right? Which means you got the A spot, you got the G spot, you got the O spot, and you have cervical orgasms. When I'm saying that at least 1/3 of every woman that I've had sex with has cried from sex, what I'm saying is that typically that would be A spot orgasms or cervical orgasms. And it's not about pain, it's about the mixing of pain and pleasure, or it's about the of the stimulation pushing a woman beyond that boundary of where she maintains
Oh no. Mm.
But I'll say is this: I'm a serial dickmatizer. That's the simplest way
Oh,
to
you
put
a what?
it.
You must be pretty as a motherfucker.
I ain't got to be
It
that pretty.
ain't about your dick. It's about you.
That's what I'm saying, because you can't
It
be
ain't
no
about your
you can't
dick.
be no dick massager
Because you
with
telling me
with
that.
only dick.
Yeah,
Not with
no.
only dick. I don't care
It
how
ain't
big
about
it is.
your dick. It's about you. And that's the thing that you fail to realize with all this sexual energy that you have going. I'm trying to tell you.
It's both. I'm gonna tell you why
It
it's
can
both.
never just be the dick on.
You never said both. You said when you led this conversation, you said dick energy.
Dick energy.
Sexual energy. You said sexual energy. And it can't be just about sexual energy
I'm
with
gonna tell you.
everybody that you ever met in life.
Well, I'll say this.
Because sexual energy won't get you far because you got sex with any and everybody you feel like it.
Oh, listen, I've dealt with women where it was our first time linking up with each other.
And
Never
they
went.
probably followed you again. But
Oh,
I understand. I understand. But you cannot say that. It's
somebody
not all about sexual energy.
talking over me. This is not gonna work. You're not gonna
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet, but I gotta let you know.
be quiet and stop talking because you keep talking over me. You're not gonna
All
disrespect.
right, I'm done talking over you.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is that most of the women I've when I said I don't take women out on dates before I have casual sex with them. What I'm saying is it's not some deep, profound emotional connection. I've had sex with plenty of women without actually ever being on the phone with them or taking them out. Like I've had sex with plenty of women where they were crying off the dick on the first time we were linking up with each other. These are women who may have been with a man for years and didn't have that experience. I'm talking about sexual energy. Now, there's a difference between being a dominant man and just being a fuck boy, right? You can be a masculine dominant man without being a fuck boy. I don't sit there and try to lead with a bunch of boyfriend energy to make a woman feel like I might want to be with her before I have sex with her. I don't do that. Mitigate.
It, is it my turn to talk?
Go ahead.
So you say that's not your intention, right?
No,
But you a whole man, right?
I'm a man.
And and statistically, how many times do a man think about sex in a day? Statistically, since you go by the numbers. So how many times do a man think about sex in a day? Now tell me that, and then I can run with what the fuck you're saying. And I didn't mean to curse. I didn't mean to be abrasive. But what I'm saying is, I need you to tell me.
I
Because
believe
you say you run by the numbers.
I don't remember the exact number. I heard it before. But
Oh, now you don't remember the exact number. Can I give it to you?
is it 60?
No, it's every 6 seconds.
Hey, and what that means?
That means that what you saying is bullshit.
That's not bullshit at all.
Okay, well, you can say that. And then when you find a woman by her pheromones that you really like her, and you want to do everything it is to get her to marry her because a man knows within 5 seconds or 5 minutes of meeting a woman, they know that's their woman. So why you haven't preached all of that?
That's cap. I think
That
only a
is not cap. That is not cap.
cap. I
That
put it
is sir. That
that's
is
cap.
not cap. I
That's
done
cap.
got 3 rings and dismissed them because I wasn't ready. I
I'll
don't
say
think
Okay,
I
pause.
don't. I don't know if
Let
you
him
know his
respond.
stuff.
See, let him
I'm
respond. Let him respond.
Okay.
I'm
Go
gonna tell you how,
ahead, buddy.
because a dominant man who actually has options, right? A man who actually has women he's dealing with don't care about your little tuna box. It's like it don't mean that much to him. He already got other women he dealing with, probably women he's more attracted to than you. For me, I value a woman off of the value she adds to my life. How is she trying to push and benefit what I got going on? Dick ain't free. When I say dick ain't free, I ain't just talking about money. Like, are you gonna make this website for me, right? Are you gonna run these errands for me, right? Are you gonna make these phone?
Uh-oh.
Are you gonna push my content for me, right? Are you gonna what you gonna do to
I
help? When I
will put your content, but when I'm asking you, on the interview level because that's what we're doing right now, so to say. You don't give a fuck about that, but you gotta understand what I know. And you acting like you don't know what I know. But if we
Wait
gonna
a
keep it
minute. We
real,
gotta
we can
pause
move it
these.
along.
Hold on, because I got a question. Hold on.
No.
Okay. Let me just pause here for a second. Um, because you said, can she make a website for you? Could she do this and that and that?
Yeah,
I feel like that's like using a person. And why I say that, right, is because I've been there where my ex, he had his own business, and I created the website. I did all this stuff for him and everything. And did all the business part. He had a business selling sex toys. I think we talked about this before. And I helped him, set up his parties, had him have some real major connections or whatever. And the man still didn't appreciate that, you
I think.
know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't want
And
to cut you.
now I'm married, right? And I've been through relationships in my time, and I noticed that when I don't do those things, that's when the man appreciates me more than when I do those things, you know.
Yeah, that
So
means that I'll say.
go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, if you got the
I think.
answer to the question.
I think that most people in general are masculine submissive. Most men are not dominant. Right? Let's keep that in buck. Most men are not dominant. I'm not trying to talk about nobody partner, nothing like that. I don't know what y'all situation is, but
Mm.
if a man appreciate like a masculine dominant man rewards good behavior. That means that based off of the value that you add to his life, non-sexually, that's how he is more invested in you non-sexually. A man who appreciates you more because you're doing less is a man who you can't really have a good cycle of energy with, right? This cycle of energy is based off of having positive feedback loops. If you feel like doing more makes the person appreciate you less, then you're gonna be playing a bunch of petty ass bullshit games with them trying to establish control and power. That's not gonna work. That's why there should be clearly defined roles about what's going on. But it's very difficult to do that if you don't lead with that from the beginning and don't let your nuts hang as man and say this is what it's gonna be.
Okay, so let me ask you this because I was told years ago, I've heard elderly women say that it's better to get a man that love you more than you love him. So, what about those relationships where it seems like it's one sided when somebody's putting more in than the other person?
I have no issue with somebody putting in more than the other person emotionally. I say that's understanding what that role is and respecting what that is the foundation of polarity, right? Because I don't believe any two people are going to love each other or value each other or respect each other completely, right? But what I
Mm-hmm.
do is that the person who's going to be the most logical and have the most capacity for rewarding good behavior should be the person in control of the relationship. And that should be that's my personal.
You stupid the whole time all night. Brody, can I say something?
Go ahead.
You said when a person loves one person more than the other person loves somebody else. What did you say to that? I just want you to repeat that. I'm sorry.
So
Because
what
I
I'm
didn't get to hear it.
my personal belief is that the individual who is the most masculine, the most logical, the person who has the best capacity to reward good behavior should be the person who's in control of the relationship. And what I mean by control, setting a pro,
Your phone keeps going in and out.
setting a program, setting a pace, setting a tone, right? So back in the day, they used to say that, right? But everybody's told the same thing. The men are told find a woman who loves you more. The women are told find someone who loves you more. This is what leads to the power struggles because nobody wants to accept not being the person who is in the position of power. And there are many women who are naturally feminist,
That's noise.
and
That's
the
noise.
are they typically keep things to them because everybody disagrees with them in the public eye. But there are absolutely both men and women who are submissive in nature. But just because you're submissive in nature doesn't mean that the person you're dealing with appreciates your submissiveness.
Okay. So how do you You said okay. So, is there a way to recalibrate the power struggle?
Yeah. There are ways of doing it, but the truth is this: you
First
got.
of all, can I say this, Brody?
No, and I
Because
let him answer
I
my
heard
question.
you answer my question.
He answered it. Go. What's the, is there a way to? How do you recalibrate the power struggle, please?
Well, there has to be a baseline level of sexual attraction, and there has to be a certain level of safety, and then there also has to be a structure. Safety, structure, attraction.
Okay, can you break down each one, the safety, the structure, and the attraction?
So a woman's going to feel the safest to a man who knows the most of what she truly thinks, desires, and prefers, and accepts her in her truth.
Mhm.
A man feel the safest with a woman who's loyal to him in whatever way he deems as being loyal, right? Or a woman who values him, right? So this is where the safety is going to come in at, right?
Mhm.
Treatment, right? But also acceptance. Then you have the desire, which means that if you're not attracted enough to somebody, you can't transmute the energy unless you know how to use kinks and fetishes and things like that to boost your attraction. But then you
Mhm.
also have the structure, which is a program. Do you have clearly defined roles within your relationship by which you know how you interact with each other, you know how to resolve conflict, and it's something that strengthens the attraction? Because one thing that I've noticed is that many people, especially many women at times, and men too, but I think this is mostly a woman thing, where women will oftentimes say that there are certain things that they want their man to do when subconsciously they are sabotaging their man from being the most attractive man they can be. It's kind of like when you see a woman with this man who got this ugly ass outfit on and she bought it for him, and she her,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
she's she's encouraging him and being cool with him getting out of shape, being cool with him letting himself go, being cool with him being all emotional and feminine, right? And she tolerates it because it validates her. But she really just wants to feel like he's not going to be a threat for somebody else taking him. But truthfully, her pussy gets wet for that nigga with the muscles who don't act nothing like or dress nothing like what he does. I think you can't trust someone unless the things that they encourage you to do make you more attractive to others, them, and yourself. And this is where the instinctual variants come in at. I think it's a good time to jump into these instinctual variants when it comes to the cycle of energy. So the social level, instinctual variance comes from the Enneagram, right? So I don't know if anybody in here knows about the Enneagram. I asked that real quick, then I'm gonna go back to this. Do any of you know about the Enneagram?
No, I don't know anything about that.
So it's 9 sides to the
And
Enneagram.
she won't let nobody else talk to say we don't know about it either.
But do y'all know? Do you know about it?
Which is, well,
Hello? Yeah, I don't hear anything. Is somebody still in the?
Sorry, I took her off the show. Go ahead with the instinctual variants.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna break it down, right? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, right?
Mm.
We're always in a cycle of energy. And within these cycle of energies, there's dominant ego valid. So there's the dominant ego and there's the submissive ego, right?
Mm.
So the ego is how you feel valued, and submissive ego is how you feel that you value someone else and how you show that, right? And there's a cycle of energy throughout life. So on a social level, that would be your social interactions, as in people outside of your primary partnership, people outside of your close circle, right? Then you have sexual. Sexual is not about sex on this level. Sexual is about your closely knit relationship, your primary partnership, whether that's monogamous or non-monogamous, is your primary partnership. Then self-preservation is your relationship to yourself and your relationship to your own emotions. So when we understand these things, it's different places that we receive and we give energy. And in order for your relationship, which is the sexual level, to flourish, that means that you can't be pouring out so much energy on the social level rather than taking in energy, that you're taking food out of the mouth of your partner, stifling the cycle of energy within your relationship.
Okay, so people that take out the social level stifles the energy in the relationship. That's what you said, right?
Well, you need to be receiving more energy than you're giving on a social level, unless you have more energy than your partner can take.
When you say a social level, like going out and stuff like that.
Yeah, like going out, having side pieces. Because there's a difference between outsourcing and trying to have your cake eaten too. It's two different things.
So, do you think that having a side piece can strengthen a relationship?
Absolutely. But I don't. But it's only if you know how to do it though. If you don't know how to do it, you need to sit your ass down somewhere.
Mm.
That's my personal take on it. Like I'm gonna be honest, I have a problem with a woman I'm dealing with having a side piece.
I was just about to ask, what's your longest relationship you've ever been in?
Off and on 10 years.
Off and on 10 years. Okay. Are you in a relationship right now?
I'm single, but you gotta understand I'm a dom. I don't jump into relationships, and I don't like. To me, I'm the type of dude where I could be dealing with a woman, and I might even damn near skip the boyfriend girlfriend stage and then go into get married. Like that's the type of guy I am. I don't care too much about the girlfriend boyfriend stuff. So
So, do you want to get married?
yeah, I do.
Okay. So, when you get married, do you want an open relationship?
To me, my standards for an open relationship and for a monogamous relationship are pretty much very similar. They're very similar. So
Explain.
I'm into BDSM. I'm a BDSM guy. So instead of going through like the talking stage, boyfriend, girlfriend, shit like that, fiance marriage, to me, I go uh fuck buddy, friends with benefits, some variation of dom sub dynamics, and then it would be going to that level. So for me, I say, what was the question now?
I asked you, would you want an open marriage or would you want a monogamous marriage?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have too much of a preference for either one. I'm ambiamorous. You know what ambiamory is?
No.
So ambiamorous is when you can flow between being monogamous or non-monogamous, and it doesn't make you too much of a difference. Only thing I'm really worried about is if my needs are met and if the relationship is secure.
Have you what are the needs that you need to be met?
Well, I got a lot of sexual energy, so my sexual needs need to be met. There has to be a certain level of trust that's present, and there's different ways of being loyal. So that means that if I'm in a non-monogamous relationship with a woman, the way she has to be loyal to me is different than a woman who's in a monogamous relationship. So if non-monogamous relationship, that means that if you're dealing with somebody else, they need to be adding value to me. Like I'm just keeping it a buck with you. Like, all right, cool. If you got some shit that's going on and you dealing with somebody else, then that situation needs to benefit us. That means they need to be like, if your energy gets low, you need to be able to go to them to get some energy so that you can show up and be more present for me. You're not allowed to come to me to get energy so you can show up more present for somebody else. That's not gonna work for me.
Okay, but in a monogamous relationship, as long as she get the energy to show up and be present for you, then you're cool with it.
I'll put it like this. Uh, with a monogamous relationship, is you have to understand sexual energy transmutation because you don't have to actually act on it to transmute the energy, right? So, let's say I like to give this example when I'm talking about sexual energy transmutation. Let's say you get turned on by a certain level of novelty. Let's say you're going to a bar, a man and a woman, they're going out to a bar. Let's say they're a married couple.
Mm,
Goes to the bar, he sits at the bar, he gets his drink. Let's say it's a whiskey sour, right? He
mm.
gets sits down at the bar, might be talking to the bartender, minding his business. He's scouting out the perimeter. He allows his woman to go out on the dance floor. She goes dance with some guys. She flirts with some guys. She gets turned on, but she goes back home with her man that night and fucks him like a prostitute. So, like, if you have the security to handle that without getting overly jealous, or even if you know how to use that jealousy to turn that anger and frustration into beating the pussy up for real, then you're good, right? But if you have to know where your energy is, right? If you don't have enough energy to maintain your relationship by yourself, you have to know how to outsource energy. So for a man, outsourcing your dominant energy is going to be more so through uh, sexual energy you're receiving from other women. But for a woman, it's going to be more so the non-sexual energy for her dominant ego. Because because although my ideology isn't gendered, the the quadrant isn't gendered. Although the quadrant isn't gendered, the dominant and the submissive ego for men and women are flipped, and that's what leads to power struggles.
Okay, so we got somebody else on the panel. I guess Jess Us TV 33.
Oh, how's it going, Jess?
Everything's wonderful.
I haven't spoken to you in like what 6-7 months, man. I don't know how long it's been. How you been?
Oh, great, man. Great, great. That's topping listening to the information is definitely some different for me, but I get the concept of it.
I think
Do
we
you have
talked.
Go ahead.
You gonna say something, bro?
I think we talked about it before.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
but I
you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. We spoke on relationship and stuff, but it wasn't. So I listened to you talk about Mary, like how, but you didn't went to into that type of detail though.
oh yeah, because we're doing a live right now. You know, oftentimes when we in the back chat, people like to talk over people, and I don't like to raise my voice. That's not.
Right.
Do you have any questions for him, Jess Us?
Okay. Yeah. What I could definitely add is that does this information also deals with the subconscious part of the human being influenced, from childhood, growing up, on how a person think based upon their environment.
Yes, it absolutely does. That this is where we really get into the topic of really most of my stuff is about understanding the subconscious mind and bringing it into the light, right? So integrating the shadow is about bringing the things in your subconscious mind into your conscious mind, and then integrating that and negotiating that with your morality and your principles so that you're living in alignment. That's the shadow integration.
So how a person would know their morality and principles when their life really dictated by the environment.
Well, you have to establish what your morality and principles are based off what would resonate with you, what's legal as well. You might want to think about the law, but you also want to incorporate like whatever your spiritual system is, as well as that's where a lot of that comes from, right? But you have to think for yourself: who are you? What do you think is right? What do you think is wrong? What do you stand for? What's your spiritual system? I believe in Jesus. You know what I mean? That's me personally. Uh, I don't expect that of everybody. You know, that's people have their own beliefs, but I say try to be as in alignment with your values as you can be, but at the same time, understand that when it comes to, you have to understand there's a difference between transmutation and repression. If you repress desires that you have rather than knowing how to channel that into a avenue that's going to be advantageous based off of your value system, then you're going to become a duplicitous individual. And in doing that, your shadow is going to possess you. And through your shadow possessing you, you're going to be a hypocritical individual who has a bunch of things you say you believe in and stand for, but aren't actually consistent with those things.
This
So
sounds similar to the Sigmund Freud psychosocial analysis.
Yeah, Carl Jung was he was the prize student of Sigmund Freud.
Okay, is this where you got your Rubik from?
Well, no, I got it from life, just observing
Mm,
life,
mm.
environment, but then through observing life and my experiences, I started recognizing certain things, and as I started doing research on them, it really my own personal ideology aligned itself in a lot of different ways with Jungian psychology. So sometimes I like to implement different aspects of Jungian psychology. So when I have the sexual polarity quadrant, I have a chart of the model of the self within the quadrant, which is the persona, the ego, the shadow, the anima, the animus, and the self.
The anima, animus, and self. Okay, because that remind me of the id, the ego, the super ego. Similar. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
it is similar, but I'm a bigger fan of Carl Jung than Sigmund Freud. But I am a fan of Sigmund Freud. I think the things that he said that people agree with are things that became so widely known and agreed to within pop culture that people don't even assign those things to him. And
Mm.
then Other things that people talk about and they actually give him credit for are typically things people don't agree with because of their social programming. Like I remember there was one thing Sigmund Freud said that, oh, these feminists are mad at him about it, right? Ooh, they
Mm.
mad about this. He said that a woman who matures, the focal point of her desire for orgasm shifts from her clitoris to her vagina. Ooh, these feminists is mad as hell at him about that.
Why?
But they did a study about that, right? It actually found a study, and in the study it says that they did a study of a bunch of women, and women who could have vaginal orgasms from penetration tended to use less immature or unhealthy coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms to deal with trauma.
Wait, what?
Wait, say that. What? Repeat that.
Wait a minute. Hold it. Women who have vaginal orgasms do what?
Tend to use less immature or unhealthy defense mechanisms and coping mechanisms.
Choose to use less of those.
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm about to say, because I can have both. And I never could understand why some women say they only have clitoral orgasms.
I got a video about that. It's called the
No,
orgasm.
I don't know.
I,
And
I,
see, I can have oh, let me shut up. I've been drinking. Cause I can have them out of every hole. No, let me shut up.
Oh,
I understand.
like, because the deeper levels of it, it's like something to understand is once you're aroused enough and you're safe enough, oh man, like the more aroused a woman is, the more parts of her body become activated to where they can create orgasm. It doesn't even have to be a clearly cut erogenous zone like the clitoris or the vagina. It could be like the nipples. It could be like the throat. You know about the vagus nerve or the vagus
Man,
nerve?
that's why I said I can have them out of every hole. It's like something about it I don't understand. Like, but I'm a very, like you said, hypersexual person. I'm very hypersexual, and I like to think that I am an alchemist at sex. So like I like to make my sex like an adventure. You know, everything is. But I don't go too far. Like I ain't finna do that type of thing they do in Dubai or nothing.
Oh yeah, of course. I wouldn't do that either.
And I'm
I know,
not really keen.
but I know what you're
I'm
talking
not
about.
really keen on nobody sucking on my toes or nothing.
Oh no, that's a guarantee. Oh, listen, I ain't listen. If I can't suck toes, I ain't fucking her.
But look, I had this one guy suck my toes so cold, but I never trust a motherfucker that want to suck my toes after that, because the motherfucker ended up stealing from me,
That's some
and
wild
I
stuff.
should have known something.
You know what's
He was
funny?
looking what
What's funny is I'll suck toes. That's real
you
shit.
have.
No, it's a guarantee that I'm gonna do it. Like I don't even have sex with a woman unless she willing, unless like I got a foot fetish. Like so for me, if I can't suck the toes, I ain't fucking.
Oh no, I don't trust you then, Brodie. Because let me tell you what the dude did. You know that part in between your big toe and I guess you call it the index toe. He put his tongue in between that like he was going down on me and was going to town. And I literally was having multiple orgasms from it. But the motherfucker was a crook. And
He was
he
a
used
thief.
that as some type of manipulation.
Oh yeah, I love that shit. Man, listen, that's some real stuff. See, to me, one of the most beautiful parts of sexual alchemy, when it comes to just the purely sexual aspect, is just seeing non-erogenous zones turn into erogenous zones with a woman, or things that weren't previously activated.
Mhm.
Like that comes through the mind-body connection. That's called interoception. And like one thing I do as a sex coach, like how I got into sex coaching was that in my experiences in life, I've been the first guy for a lot of women who was able to give them vaginal orgasm for penetration, and then to extend beyond there to different forms of orgasms. So it's kind of like just like a program, a little process I go through with women that I deal with, where I like for a woman I'm dealing with to be able to have at least 3, 4, 5 different types of orgasms that I can give her, and then I like to study the way that each type of orgasm she experienced affects her psychologically, so that I know which one to give her on that day, depending on what mood she's in. Like, so, and you kind of do a cocktail. You can kind of do a cocktail.
What is a cocktail?
Like, let's say the woman is stressed out that day. If she needs a quick burst of energy, that a quick burst of excitement, like just a little like candy, you know what I mean? Quick little hit, quick clit orgasm. Cool. If she needs like a deep, more of a spiritual experience that removes her from the moment, where she kind of stuff, you got to go for the cervical orgasm. If she wants to feel more emotionally connected, as far as, but without getting too deep or too lost outside of the moment, go for the G spot. If she wants that feeling of excitement and primal shit, then go for the A spot. And that's kind of how I do things, kind of like that.
So you can't give all of them at one time?
I mean, you can, but it's like sometimes I like to do them in different orders, depending on that. Because like if I'm dealing with a woman, I'm never gonna let shit get boring. So I'm gonna try different things. So it's like if I see what mood she's in on that day, what's going on, then I'm gonna give her the one that's appropriate for the mood that she's in.
I remember when you said people make erogenous zones, because I remember somebody licked my armpit before. Oh my god, that was the best feeling ever. Now, can I ask you, what parts of the body have you licked on that you might consider taboo?
Uh, I don't give a fuck about no taboo. I'll lick a bitch eyeball if she asks me to.
What?
Hell no. Hell no. Not the eyeball. But look, and let me get to the feet thing though. What if you be with a woman and she don't really want to kiss you because you be licking everybody's feet?
Okay. I
Cause
mean,
to me that's nasty. I don't like nobody licking my feet.
if a woman think that, listen, women think that nasty until they deal with me, and they like, then they don't want to deal with nobody who don't do it no more.
Well, maybe I just ain't got broken in yet, but I don't know. But I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. Shit.
Wait a minute, I got a question. Wait, so have you licked behind somebody's kneecap before? Because I think I want that shit to happen. Like
Oh yeah.
licking, you know that little crease in the elbow? Oh,
Oh,
that might feel good too.
one of my favorite parts of a woman's body is the fat behind the knees. I saw a woman earlier today, and I was like, I
Oh,
part that
baby.
part behind the knee. Oh, that's my shit right there. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. And I mean, sure, I guess. Now you got me thinking I might need to call my husband. Like, come on now.
Okay, come
Think
lick
about some
behind my
shit. Can
knee.
you look behind my leg for me? Let me see how that feel.
Oh, I mean, the nigga like, hey, what's up with it? Like, that's good right there. See, that's something I love.
Now, let me ask you this. Oh, this is what, because I think that, okay, let me tell, I don't know if I should tell the story. I'm going to tell the story. So one day, me and my husband, went to my brother's house, right? And he had a tequila tasting. So I was just drinking the tequila. I was tipsy. So my husband came, got me, and he was acting mad or whatever. So I literally ripped all his clothes off and just took it, right? Just took it.
That don't sound like
And,
a problem.
huh?
That don't sound like a problem to me.
Right. So then the next morning he laid up in like a little fetal position talking about you R word to me. You know the word, right? And he gonna say, can you do it again? So now I'm thinking, right? My wheels is turning. I'm thinking about next, maybe I should tie him up or something.
You most definitely should.
How do you think I can ease him into me tying him up, blindfolding him and choking him and doing all that stuff?
I think that's what you do to keep it fresh. I mean, I think that's what you do to keep it going. Like, I feel like if you're not trying to take it there, then what you doing? Like, I don't know. It's to me, I think that even if I think that being integrated, part of being integrated is like switching. You get what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
no person is 100% submissive. No person is 100% dominant. I just believe that you need to walk in your primary role, and then after you walk in your primary role, then after you show it, you prove that you can do it, you establish trust in your primary role, then you build trust to branch out from there.
What's the primary role?
Well, if you're primarily dominant or you're primarily masculine, you need to show that you can step in that lane. Let me give you an example. This is an example I love to give, right? So the example I love to give is this: a man who is a war veteran, who's receiving a Medal of Honor, who cries at his ceremony to receive his medal, thinking about his fallen comrades. Nobody will ever look at that man and say he's weak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody does, they're the weak one, right? A man who has been raising 6, 7 kids on his own, and it's Father's Day coming around, and he's getting honored on Father's Day, and he sheds a tear. Nobody's gonna look at that and say that they're weak. And if they say that, they're the weak one, right? If a man is witnessing his child being born, it's his first child, and he sheds a tear, there's nothing weak about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if a man cries every time a woman doesn't text him back, he a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about showing your masculinity, showing your dominance, in proving you. I believe that a man who's masculine, he has to earn the right to have emotion. You can have emotion, you have to earn the right to show them. And a woman, she needs to earn the right to have a say so with a dominant man. You don't just come into the picture with a say so.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Now,
I,
if you
I could dig that.
Now, if you show, like, let's say he got a program and you say, you know what, I'm getting on this program, I'm being receptive to his ideas, his thought process, I'm seeing what benefit I can get out of it, I'm investing myself in it. And then you're like, I'm invested enough in it to where this feels like it's also part of how I think, part of how I view things. I'm using the things he teaches me to move forward in my own life and in this relationship. And you say, okay, cool. You know what? I can think of ways to make this better, but I understand it well enough to not contradict the core principles of what you're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
You earn the right to be masculine. You earn the right to have a say so. You earn the right to display your dominance. And that's what integration is about. You have to earn that. But you have to know what your primary role is first.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a question. Right. This is a scenario. Say if you with somebody and the person is like a good person all the way around. He do a lot. He does a lot to help you, but he just don't. He don't have the drive that you have in life. But I, how can you like? Damn, is he to be respected? Because and when I say the drive, I'm not saying like as if like a person can get money or whatever, but you don't just go as hard as the person might not go as hard. If you don't go as hard as me, it's hard for me to respect you. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, you know?
I think it depends, because some people like to pace themselves, right? If you're a person who burns out, then you should never have anything to say about a person who paces themselves.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good way to put it. Because, but what if you pacing and you never get there? Because if you, that's gonna make me scared. Because
I,
I need to.
I think it's about taking active steps. If you're taking active steps and doing what you got to do, and you're taking care of yourself, it's all good. But if it's a situation where you're just complacent and it starts to negatively affect the relationship, that's different. But if it's just negatively
Right,
affecting the relationship because what you think a man should be, but whatever you think a man should be, that's not the nigga
right.
who's in your life, and you either couldn't get him or you didn't want him, shut up. Like, get over it. Like, that's how I look at it. You know what I mean? It's like you got what's right in front of you. Focus on
Mm,
what you like about the person you with rather than what you don't like. You know what I mean?
right,
Because if you focus on
right,
what you like, you're gonna be like delusional, entitled. You're gonna be mistreating them, feeling some type of way about them when they might be the best thing that ever happened to you.
right. You are so correct. I get it. Well, shit, because I understand it could be both ways. So I understand how that most definitely can be happening. And I
Yeah, but
think,
I do think it's important to understand that, right? Because I think both men and women have a tendency of doing that, right? But
mm,
I will say this: don't overwork love. I got a video on my YouTube channel called "Don't Overwork Love." Now, to
mhm,
me, what I see, what love does is it gives you the capacity to see a person as the best version of themselves, even if they're not actively displaying it in that particular moment. And what that does is it creates a certain level of safety and acceptance to where if there's a good positive feedback loop, then they'll be able to move forward without hindrances, right? But if a person gets complacent because of your acceptance of them, then it's going to overwork your love and it's going to kill the safety, the attraction, the respect, all those things on both sides.
Right.
So
Right.
don't
Right. Right.
don't overwork love because energy is not an unlimited resource, right? I think we got to understand this. Intrinsic desire doesn't equal unlimited resources. Just because somebody loves you doesn't mean they're going to be unconditionally sexually attracted to you. It doesn't mean that they unconditionally respect you. It doesn't work like that. I think believing that is delusional for both men and women.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah. So if somebody loves you, understand that means that you got a certain space of wiggle room. But what you don't want to do is get complacent and then feel like pressure or get complacent about the situation and then meet somebody else and then be on stuff where you're worried about what they think about you. Like they don't care about you like that.
Right. That's crazy. Because I
It,
think I think that way. Like, but then sometimes I feel like hell no. I don't know. I just get anxiety about that type of shit. Like you gotta be like
I
really.
got a I got a question, Brodie.
Go
Have
ahead.
you ever been dominated?
Dominated in what way? I say I compartmentalize my submissive ego. So I get dominated on a regular basis, right? But the way I get dominated is a way that's very controlled. So um, as far as a woman controlling me, no. Or as far as like a woman like have I ever been you talking about like being overpowered in a sexual scenario?
Yes.
Never, never. No.
So while a woman was on, maybe let's say, how do you say it, riding the rodeo, she ain't never like choked you while she was doing that, or slapped you or nothing like that.
Well, I say I've never been slapped by a woman outside of my mother. But let's say that I've had women try to choke me back, but I ain't gonna lie. In the back of my mind, you got to understand. I used to train MMA. I'd been had grown men trying to choke me, so I'd be laughing like, look at her with these little weak ass hands trying to choke me. This is so cute.
Oh, okay. You ain't never really been choked out there.
I'm saying, listen, I said I've trained in MMA. We talking about grown men trying to choke you to sleep. A little woman or a bigger woman putting her hands around your throat don't really mean nothing. It's cool. It's a turn on because like, oh yeah, you getting into this. I like this. You getting into it, but it's not like I got a strong neck. Like I used to be a boxer, so it it don't really do too much for me personally. But it's cool though. I ain't mad at it. Like, cause to me, I just like a woman letting her inhibitions go. So if she's typically very reserved and quiet and shy and laid back, and then she's like we getting into it, and then I hit that spot on her, and then she's trying to fight back. I'm like, I'm gonna let you think you fighting back for a little while, just so that you get your confidence up. I don't want to kill your confidence when you
Mm.
step into yourself. I don't want to do that, but understand it's not gonna happen.
Mm. What about biting? Would you get like getting bit?
Yeah, that's cool with me, but I bite too though. I probably bite first and last.
Okay. Are you the type of man that like your nipples? Like, is it gay for a man to have his nipples played with, or that's a normal thing, and most men should do it, or what?
Nah, I'm actually trying. No, I'm actually trying to activate my nipples. My nipples ain't activated.
Mm. So does
Yeah.
that mean that you're not emotionally attached, or what's going on with your nipples?
No, I think it's a mind body connection thing. I think that most men's nipples aren't that sensitive, and it's like it's one of those things where you have to be aroused enough and have some classical conditioning. I don't know if y'all know about that, but it's certain psychological things you have to do to build that arousal to activate a zone that's not erogenous and make it erogenous.
Mm.
I've done that with women before where I would, activate those spots, but I don't think women have really done too much of activating a spot for me where it's enough for me to have an orgasm from something other than my dick. You know what I mean? So That's the trade-off of being dominant. When you're dominant, you receive less pleasure. When you're masculine, you receive less pleasure. So it's one of those things where that's the trade-off. The trade-off is
Oh,
to be as in control as I like to be. The trade-off is I don't receive as much pleasure as the women that I deal with. And I'm cool with that. But guess what? Women go through the same shit. You would ever wonder why women don't be having orgasms for penetration? It's because they like to be so fucking in control that
dominant.
they're dealing with a man, they don't let go. And because they don't let go, they want to, like, a masculine woman is in her dominant sexual ego. I think that's the easiest way to put it. She can be masculine submissive, but a woman being masculine submissive is really in her dominant sexual ego.
Okay, I got a question. So, if a woman lick a man's butt, is she being dominant or is she being submissive? And it vice versa. If a man allows his butt to be licked by a woman, is she being dominant or submissive?
Shit, I had sex before. It's cool. I don't shit. I like nasty bitches.
Mm.
Can we limit the cussing? Do you see me using the code word, sir?
Oh, the real. Because I was just gonna say, like, if in oh, you know how that's probably too much for this. Let's go.
Gone. No, it's Freaky Friday now, and it's the
So
time is winding
if a
down.
nigga
That's
like
why I'm
if a
asking more in-depth questions.
you saying lick, but is it gay for a nigga to let you put your fingers in his ass?
Uh,
I ain't did. What I'll say is this right here. I don't think anything a man does with a woman is gay.
Right.
I
So
just
she
don't.
can peg him. She can peg him.
I ain't into that, but I can respect it. I'm gonna tell you, and it's gonna sound like some weird stuff, but I'm gonna tell you why I can respect it. I
It
think
don't
that
sound weird.
if you're with somebody and this is the person you're the closest to, then whatever is the peak level of pleasure or being stretched that you can take, you should share that with your partner. Like that.
Okay, y'all. My auntie texted me because she listening, and she said, "It's certainly the nipples have to be bitten." She said she listened to the podcast, and if the nipples are introverted or not, then it could be the difference. So maybe your nipples are introverted.
No, my nipples aren't introverted or as in like they go inside. No, my nipples they don't go inside. If I get cold or something like that, they'll get a little bit harder, but it's just like they just haven't been because I don't really deal with women. I've never dealt with a woman who could genuinely dominate me like without me letting her. And if I have to let her do it, then it's not really real. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I'm a dominant. I know that. I accept that. I'm cool with that. I accept what comes with it. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
So what comes with it is I have to do my own work. And I can teach a woman how to do certain things because I'll say this. I've had a woman in my life for a while who uh very nipple orgasm. And I love that about her. Like I love it about her. Like I could just be chilling with her, riding in the car, playing with her nipples. She'll have an orgasm, me playing with her nipples just while we riding down the street. I
Mm.
like that. But she told me one day that she likes the idea. I think she was dating some other guy one time, and she liked the fact that he had sensitive nipples. I'm like, I wouldn't mind having that, but at the same time, it's one of those things where they just not activated yet. I would like for it to be. So she's working on it with me. She's been trying to use some of the stuff I use on her on me, and it's so cute to me.
Oh wow! How long you been with this person?
I've been with her for a while. Been with her for a good time, a good long while.
Is she the one?
I don't believe in the one.
You don't.
Uh,
What do you
You
believe in,
deal with
sir?
a lot of females. Like what? You just you don't believe in the one. What do you believe in?
I believe that there's several people in the world, out billions of people who you could be compatible enough with to make something work with.
Right, but all of those relationships are not necessary. See, this is my theory. Like I feel like people often mistake an attraction for a physical sexual attraction. And not all the time those relationships are physical and sexual. There is an attraction because maybe you're attracted to this person's mind. Like they call that sapiosexual, but I don't think it's sexual. You could be attracted to a person's character or whatever, but maybe that person, the attraction is really that's supposed to be your business partner. I believe in destiny and all that stuff, So that person probably should be your business partner, or that person probably should be your friend, or that person could possibly be someone you're meant to introduce to to another friend. Like you could be attracted to this person to be the destiny for the next person, but because you had sex with this person, now this person will never meet who they're destined to be with, because we live in a time where we don't take our time to date, to get to know a person. You know what I mean? Like maybe it was a catapult into another relationship, but a lot of time, even when the person is not with that person anymore, they don't want like their friend or their family members or whatever to date with this person just because they had a previous relationship with that person. But what if the only reason why you were attracted to that person was to bring these two people together? You get what I'm saying?
I say I don't too much believe in destiny like that. I think that we're humans and we make choices, and I do think there may be some truth to it. I don't dismiss something I can't prove, right? But
Mm.
the belief is that as humans, we're onions, we're multifaceted. We're not like, I don't believe there's no such thing as the true self necessarily, as it is one true real you. I think that people are multifaceted, multi-layered, and I think life is about choices. So I think that what you feed will grow and what you starve will die. So if you have a high enough capacity for compatibility with an individual, and you have the competency and the security to take what comes with that relationship, like the things that they do as coping mechanisms don't trigger your childhood wounds, or at least you're willing to work through them to reach a higher level of security, then it can work. I think that there's plenty of relationships with people that can work if they have the humility and the willingness to put the work in. That's my personal point of view. I don't even think that you necessarily have to be with this perfect person, or that you have to be this perfect person. I just think it's about, can it work or can it not work?
Okay. Um. So, what do you say about people who get married and they marry someone and then after a while they just don't have sex anymore, or the sex is just not there anymore? Like,
Uh, I've been there before. Not married, but I've been there before.
mm,
What I'll say is this right here. It's like I said, it's the baseline level of attraction. There's the safety. There's the structure. Like, you got to have the polarity in place. Sometimes the truth is that if you value someone too much based off of that principle level as a woman, then you'll feel disrespected by the things that would turn you on by someone else. What I've noticed in those type of situations, this is gonna sound like some toxic shit a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you. But if a woman is in that position and she's like masculine submissive, and she fucks up enough to know that she did wrong, then she's going to have a short window of time where she can jump to a higher level of sexual energy with the man she's already with.
All right, let me ask you a question. You said something, you was speaking earlier about the transferring of energy when you have sex. So how do you feel about that if you have sex with multiple people? Like, shouldn't you worry about that? Like, that's a lot of energy transferring. And what if they having sex with multiple people? I don't think that would be good or feel good to the
she
spirit.
talking about soul ties, when you have soul ties.
I have a different perspective of soul ties. I don't believe in soul ties the way most people do. I think soul ties is really just you getting attached based off of your submissive ego, right? A man's submissive ego. I remember there's this content creator and author called Ron Wills. We're friends on Facebook. Cool dude. He has this quote that he says all the time, which is that a man makes love to a woman's body and a woman makes love to a man's mind. So a man is going to have that feeling of a soul tie by having a lot of access, giving a woman a lot of access to his mind and emotions, and a woman's going to have that feeling of a soul tie from having the mixture of sex and emotions with her body. So both the man and a woman can have sex without there being the soul tie thing, and both the man and the woman could be friends without having the soul tie thing. It's the mixture of sex and emotions that leads to that attachment, because it influences the anima and the animus, and then it shifts your preferences. If they take you further than you've been before, that becomes
Mm.
standard, and when that becomes your new standard, then you judge the next person by it. And when you judge the next person by it and are influenced by this person's characteristics, it's about, is this good influence or bad influence?
Mm. So
So
Yeah,
a
tell
man,
but
me,
I'm saying
um,
this.
I say this.
go
Let
ahead,
me
go
one
ahead,
thing.
Miyaka.
A man can have the feeling of what a woman considers a soul tie from
Mm.
staying up on the phone talking to a woman all night, spending months pursuing a woman and not fucking, and never touch the woman sexually. And same feeling of soul tie from the total attachment.
Hold on, Miyaka, let me mute your mic. It's doing some crackling. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is that it's like, to me, it's more of an attachment thing. A man
Mm.
have what a woman considers as a soul tie simply from spending too much time investing in a woman non-sexually without getting a return on investment. So it's not even about the sex. It's about the combination of sexual and non-sexual attraction and only pouring out of your submissive ego.
Mm-hmm. Um,
Well,
I got a
let me just say
question.
this. I feel like I'm speaking on energy. Like if you have energy, if you having sex with somebody with bad energy, then I believe that's transferable. And if they having sex with this person and you having sex with that person and next person, you don't really know what's really the energy that's being transferred to you.
I'll say that for a man, if your emotions are not opened up to the woman, then it's not going to affect you. For a woman, if your emotions are not opened up to the man, what you doing sexually is not going to affect you. But if sex and emotions are mixed, then the energy can transfer. The energy is not going to transfer unless sex and emotions are mixing.
I got a few questions now. Okay, because I've been meaning to ask you this since our last conversation. I want to know about the 5 minute ejaculation off of fellatio.
I knew this was coming and I prepared myself. I think the very important thing to understand is that sex starts before the clothes ever come off. The more turned on a man is before the dick come out, the quicker he gonna nut. Simple. Like so many times, so many women think that they pussy good when really they just know how to be a tease. Like there's women who think that they pussy is immaculate when really this nigga been fucking her in his mind for the last 3 weeks, for the last 3 months, for the last 6 months. So by the time he actually get in there, he didn't last for 2 minutes. He lasted for 6 months and 2 minutes. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's but it's the same thing with a woman. I remember I'm a tease myself because as a dom, we like control. So it's like edging, teasing, pleasure denial, orgasm control, forced orgasms, and delayed gratification. So let's say I'm dealing with a woman. Uh, I remember. Let me tell a story real quick. I remember one time I had one of my submissives over, right? And when I had one of my submissives over, I we were watching Get Out on a laptop in the living room. And when we were watching Get Out, we were watching it, and I would lean over, maybe grab her by the back of her neck or throat or something like that, or grab her inner thigh or something like that. Do that for a little while, then just stop. Right? Maybe do it for like 30 seconds and just stop. Maybe wait 10, 15 minutes, do it again, maybe get a little bit more aggressive, or maybe start touching on her breast, start touching on her pussy a little bit, start touching on her hot spots. Do it for a little while, then just stop. And then I did that about 3, 4 times over the course of about 30, 40 minutes. And then the last time I did it, I just out of nowhere, I flipped her over, pulled her pants down, I pushed her head into the couch, pulled the dick out, slapped her on the ass, and I put my head right up next to her ear and I said, damn, I gotta unthaw this chicken. So I went and unthawed some chicken and I started cooking.
Okay, so you said in order to get that 5 minute, uh, how did I say? How should I say it? Orgasm ejaculation after fellatio is to tease him for some months, like little kisses here and there, little rubs here and there, and then get him what's the word I'm looking for?
Riled up.
Anxious or whatever for what's to happen next, or you know,
Yeah,
I
but
guess
that's
just
where come in at. So I say you can do it just over the course of a day. You know what I mean? Over the course of a day, let's say the morning start off, your man at work, and while he's at work, you go ahead and his favorite part of your body. You go ahead and randomly you send him some shit. Like you send him a video or some shit like that. You start talking real dirty to him. You get into your sexy voice. You start talking that shit to him. And then when you see him, understand maybe this is just how it works for me, but I'm not going to get hornier than I was before my dick come out. So if you got to make sure that before a man dick come out the draws, if he's a man who gets pre cum, don't take the dick out until there's already pre cum on the draws.
okay. So I'm not. I don't know because I have different experiences, so I was just thinking, like, you got me thinking now. So basically, I feel like men pull those things out of, like, it depends on the chemistry, you know? Like, every man is not gonna get that out of me. Cause I remember doing things like you said before and sending pics. But then I got into a point where it's like, he don't put, like, I used to, like, I like to wear lingerie. I like to take pictures in lingerie. I love wearing lingerie, right? But like, I have been in relationships where I just didn't want to wear it. I was not interested in wearing it. I just felt like, but it just made me think, like, why aren't you doing that? Because I love to do it just on my own, just to see myself.
I think a great way to handle that is keep some of your old memories. And I'm not saying keep the old memories if you're in a committed relationship so that you can cheat on your person or disrespect them and how you do it. But you can have an understanding. What you do is this is where having new energy around can be a good thing, even if you're not acting on it. But if you don't have the boundaries in the game to know how to circumnavigate not acting on it, then leave it alone. If you you know what I mean, if you don't know how to talk to and deal with somebody else without crossing the line to where it kills the safety between you and your partner, leave that shit alone. But if you got some game, listen, you can get turned on by somebody who does make you feel that way. And then if you attach the characteristics, like I was making a video about this the other night. Let's say you're watching porn and it's turning you on. I say, don't make the primary focus of your porn life to be watching stuff that is the complete opposite of what your partner is. Find something that turns you on, like a storyline or a technique, right? Not something that your partner can't recreate.
So you say fantasize.
Yeah, fantasize. But with that fantasy, what you're really trying to do is getting yourself into that sexual state of mind, attaching that to a particular trait or characteristic that your partner has so that you're more attracted to your partner. So let's say sometimes what I would do is this, and this is why women don't have an issue with me dealing with other women. This is part of the reason why. Like, even if a woman loves me, she don't have no problem with it, because I will take the fact that another woman is giving me sexual energy, get more into my dom space, and then show up for her even more dominant than I was the last time, because it's like I'm already in this primal state of mind. So sometimes you got to work yourself into a primal state of mind, but know how to channel that back into your partner. So sometimes, let's say you got old pictures, old videos, old text messages that really turned you on, that you remember the state of mind you were in when you were doing those things. Go back, look at those things, permeate, meditate on them a little bit, and prepare yourself for your partner. Now, this is where their energy is going to matter, right?
Mm.
If they're receptive to it, then boom, you get into that energy, you seduce them a little bit. If get into that state of mind makes the makes shit even hotter, then you know, okay, cool, this is going to create a better cycle of energy. You just got to get to a place where you can sustain that within the relationship instead of having to go out. If you got to go out, then just know how to do that with the boundaries appropriate for your relationship. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Okay,
Listen,
so I'll just read this at the bottom. I've heard stories from friends who have talked about how they made a man wait a while before sleeping with him. And when the time finally came to be intimate, the man couldn't even get off. I think you got it misunderstood, because it's not about making them wait. It's because if you make them wait and do nothing, then it's nothing. It's
exactly.
about giving, I like to call it dropping the hanky. This is
Yeah,
my version of it. Sorry. I
yeah,
call
yeah,
it dropping the hanky. So you do, like, remember how back in the day the girls used to drop the hanky to get the man attention, or drop her school book so he could pick them up? You know, it's like giving the little cues to get him aroused and to get him thinking about you. So like, you drop the hanky, he's interested now. He got the look in your eyes and stuff. Now that's where the, I feel like you said it's not masculine to chase, but this is how a feminine dominant would be. Am I correct?
yes. That's exactly what. I think that would be.
See, I'm learning. I'm learning.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's a more healthy version of a feminine dominant. I think that's because there's spectrums. I'll say that there's a spectrum of toxicity, right? Manipulation is a natural part of human interaction. So there's
Hmm.
4 levels of toxicity. There's moral, there's amoral, there's immoral, and there's illegal and depraved. right?
I don't like to call it toxicity
No,
because
it's
this
toxic.
is
You ever been on social media and see people talk about toxic? But some people, when they say toxic, they're talking about abuse. Other times, when people are talking about toxic, they're just talking about good sex. You'd be like, why do people talk about good sex and then talk about toxic? Anytime you're influencing an individual to feel something that they didn't go into the situation expecting to feel, it's toxic. It's manipulation. You're influencing them. So if I'm fucking a woman till she cries, I've had women tell me, you're toxic, Amari. You're toxic. Why
that
would
is
you do
not your name. Who is that?
that? My real name is Amari.
You're a motherfucking liar. You
Yes,
know what she? You know why she laughing? What?
why is she laughing?
How you spell it?
Amari.
Oh, okay, cool. Still ain't right. It still ain't right.
Okay.
That's not your first name, is it, Brody?
That's my first name.
Oh shit! I gotta end this live, y'all.
Hmm.
I don't know what's going on.
Nothing.
It's
Nothing going
ridiculous.
on. You had some really, really good points. I agree with a lot that you say that you know, everything that you stand on except for the multiple women. But I do agree that if you can conduct yourself in a certain way, it's not even gonna matter because you're not gonna miss a beat. So a woman is not even gonna think about it.
But he didn't say that he would just be with multiple women. He said he could switch between both. And then he said also that it gotta be a cycle of energy. That like
No, he
so
said he don't believe in that. He believed that more than he can have a connection with more than we can have connections with more than one person on this, on this earth. And
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this. I think that what I'm saying is that I'm ambiamorous. Uh, for the most part,
let
I
me look
I, don't
this word up.
believe, I don't believe in non-hierarchical relationships, right? So
mhm.
that means if I'm dealing with a woman, I believe in tenure. Like if you're a college professor, a woman who's the most invested with me and been dealing with me for the longest time is going to be my priority. I don't care if another woman's more attractive, if her pussy's quote unquote better. I don't care about none of that shit. Who's been the most down for me? That's who
Damn.
my
Right. I
and
get
women.
it.
So
Uh-uh.
for me, but I don't need necessarily multiple women, but most I don't think I've met a woman necessarily who can handle my sexual energy yet on a consistent basis. Because it's a lot. I'm a lot of man to deal with. So I understand that. So I don't try to set an unrealistic expectation like, oh, if this woman can't handle me one on one for every single day all the time, then she no good for me. I'm like, no, if she add value in other ways, we can still rock. I'm just gonna get you a little help. And if you need to get me a little help, that's cool too.
Yeah. I understand, but I don't. I'm not one of those women. But I do
Listen.
understand. I understand completely. Trust me.
Yeah.
That'll be a
Sometimes
problem.
like, listen, if I'm dealing with a woman and she got another man in her life and she needs some shit done, I'm like, go get that nigga to do it.
Wait,
Uh,
what?
yeah,
No,
yeah, I do
no,
it.
now I gotta disagree because every man is not capable of doing a man's job.
No, I mean, there's certain things that I do. Like, I'm a caregiver. Like, as far as like, I operate in different roles.
You
But
breaking up, Brody. You breaking up, Brody.
I say that one
Mm-mm.
role that I operate out of is being a daddy dom,
That's
right?
horrible. That's
That's,
so horrible.
oh, let me put this phone on the charger. About to die.
Cause I feel like this, right? Let me just get this out while he do that. Like I have met men that know how to fix a car. I know, but didn't know how to fix a roof. I met men that know how to fix a roof and didn't know how to fix a car. I've met men that know how to mow a lawn. I met men that know how to unplug a toilet. So every man got a special gift, okay?
Mhm,
And not all of them can do the same thing.
mhm. Shit,
And
some
it's
of
some
them.
men that'll just want a conversation from you and help you out. You don't have to give up the cookies.
Mm-mm.
So
I
this
think.
is why I understand with Brody when it comes to being connected to other people because you don't always have to have sex with everyone to get that. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
you don't. You just it's just like a player on the team.
Right. So that's why I said like you can have great connections. 'Cause I got great connections with a bunch of men. You know,
Right.
I got a great connection with the Craigs. I got a great connection with DMG, but we only on a business tip. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because we
Me
had a
also.
meeting of the mind. You feel what I'm saying? So
Right.
I got great connections with my uncles. You know, it's just like
Right.
so. There's different relationships. So you will have different great connections with the opposite sex. Period. But
Hmm. But I
then
was
when you
speaking
go
on sexual.
but when you're not family related or whatever, then it could be a friendship, some type of dynamic that you have. Like I said, a business partnership or a business relationship. So it don't always have to be that type of connection. But what
Hmm.
I'm saying is that a lot of people don't realize that or don't understand the connection that they have with other people.
Right.
And so they misinterpret the connection
And use it for sex.
and they use it as a sexual
Something different.
deviant. So
Right.
okay, I'm gonna wait till you get on for this question. But yeah, so it's like I
I
think that's
understand that because the friendship, a friend, you can be a friend with the male or female. It don't have to be about sex. They can bring something to the table, and you'll bring something. They can be an asset to your life without you having sex with them. But a lot of people, they just meet people and feel like they can feel a slight connection and use it for sex.
yeah, even when it comes to the LGBTQIA plus, like some of them probably misinterpreted like the best friendship or the because it's an emotional connection, especially when you're close friends. Go
Right.
ahead, Brody.
You know what y'all saying right there? I think that's something that happens a lot in what I call prematurely integrated relationships.
Say it again. You call it
I,
what?
I think that happens a lot in prematurely integrated relationships. Like
Mm-hmm.
very easy to confuse. Like when you're not used to experiencing high levels of sexual energy from yourself and from the other person, then somebody who likes you and has a connection with you, it feels like okay, cool. Well, the next natural step is to have sex. Like that's kind of just how it feels when you're manner. But sometimes it's just meant to be friends, and sometimes you're just not in a place in your life where you're ready. But what I will say is this: if the baseline of attraction is high enough and the safety is high enough, the sexual energy will flow. Like that's just how I see it. If your attraction is high enough and the safety is high enough, the energy will flow. It's just a matter of is that a sustainable cycle of energy?
No, sometimes it's not. And so then that's why like the sexual attraction even in a long-term relationship is not always gonna be that. Because I know that 1 minute you'll love a motherfucker so much, you'll love him. And then 1 minute you plotting they I ain't gonna say that. All right, let me change it up. 1 minute you want to choke him.
Can you repeat that again for me?
I said 1 minute you love a person. I don't think it's like a how you say it? Harmonious thing
Hormonal or
because
hormonal?
harmonious like harmony. Am I pronouncing it
Yeah,
right?
harmonious. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I don't think it's harmonious because of the ups and downs with dealing. Just like you said, you was in a relationship 10 years off and on. So I just don't think that portion is harmonious. But what I think makes it harmonious or makes it flow is, damn it, what you call it? The first part, the safety. When you feel safe with the person. When you feel safe with a person, you'll always fuck with them.
Exactly. I feel
But
like a friendship is better than that. You know how people get together and it's like you focused on a lovey-dovey fuck relationship type shit, but then you have a friend that you had sex with for you might have had sex with them in the past. You might even have sex with them again, but it could have been 20 years and you still got that same love for them.
mhm, because you feel safe. You ain't had no drama. It was like a mutual, but it just be like you said
Even if
too,
you
Brody.
had drama, you just know them. It's just the safety.
Yeah. But like you said too, like he said, oh God, I just forgot what the fuck I was gonna say. But anyway, Because you had just said something about damn it. Go on, Brody. Because I forgot shit.
One thing I will say is that I think that sometimes people focus on that feeling of safety, like people who focus on that idea of quote unquote healthy relationships. And I think sometimes they miss the point that safety is not unconditional.
It's not. Because once a person cross you, then you don't no longer feel safe.
Exactly.
Right.
Then it becomes very difficult. And this is where the integrated masculine and the integrated feminine come in, right? And this is the overflowing cup space. This is not even the high cup space. You know, the low cup space, that's masculine, submissive, and feminine dominance, low cup. Then you got the middle cup, that's masculine, submissive, exercise, and self control. I'm going to talk about that. And then we got the high cup space, that's masculine, dominant, feminine, submissive. That's you're in alignment with that. But then you have the integrated masculine and the integrated feminine, which is where your animus or your anima is developed enough to see the full scope of who a person is to a certain extent. So,
I would just call that being confident in who you are.
well, I'll say this right here, right? Uh, a feminine, submissive individual typically is not going to be able to simply think their way through reaching a place of safety outside of the actions of another person, right? A masculine dominant is typically not going to be able to deal with a woman who's not already being feminine and submissive with him. He's going to have to lead very front heavy with how he deals with the woman. The integrated masculine is a man who can create that safety with the woman, and the integrated feminine is a woman who can create safety for herself. And that's where it's an unrealistic expectation that most people have. It's not impossible. It's not something that doesn't happen. There are definitely people who are like that. But the thing to understand is that most people who desire that are trying to skip a whole level of interaction.
Mm.
They're trying to skip straight from the low cup space to the overflowing cup space. It don't really work like that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
It don't. So I think it's very important to understand that. I think that when it comes to the safety, you just got to recognize, okay, are your coping mechanisms going to hit my traumas and my childhood wounds so much that it's going to be damn near impossible for me to create an environment where you feel safe and free? Do you have compatible triggers? I think that's a real important question. Like, the two people have a conversation, like, and they're trying to deal with each other. Like, all right, what are your triggers? What are the things that make you feel uncomfortable? Now, I'll say this: I'm not going to answer that for a woman I just met, right? Because I've dealt with women before where if you tell them that and they aren't on a certain level of energy, aren't on a certain level of mindset, the moment that they feel uncomfortable about something, they're just going to take whatever you tell them and do exactly whatever it is and fuck you over
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I would keep that to myself. I call that the Delilah syndrome. It's like
Right.
emotional coercion, right?
Mm.
So what I say is that when it comes to these scenarios, you got to take time and you got to vet people. Now, people's vetting processes are different. I start having sex with a woman before I ever think about really vetting her for a relationship.
Me too. Way before.
Yeah,
Way before I even get those type of feelings, period. Like, I don't know. It took me a long time to feel like that about somebody.
so it's really
I wear my heart on my sleeve.
I don't. I mean,
I
I
be
mean,
in
I
love so fast, but then once I get in love, I get out of it quick.
no me. I will be nice to you, care about you, even have sex with you. We could be cool. You can be, think you my boo, but in my head, it took me a while for you to really be him.
yeah
Yeah.
for me.
They said Chris move slow and we hoes though.
I
That does.
for me, if I say I love you, I may never stop loving you. So I have to
I'm not
protect.
going to.
Amari. I mean
Yeah,
Brody.
yeah.
When is your birthday?
I'm a Scorpio.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my
I think I
god.
asked you this before.
I'm
That's
like,
why he
oh,
talking about this shit.
yeah, exactly. Little nasty
It
self.
all makes sense now.
Oh, yeah, little nasty self.
I'm a double Scorpio, so I'm a Scorpio sun, a Leo moon, a Scorpio rising.
Oh my god. Now what?
Hmm.
Okay, it all makes sense now.
Okay, we get it.
You said a Leo moon?
Yeah,
Mm. Anyways, okay. So,
I'm not surprised. I get that all the time. Anytime I tell people that, it's like, oh, I ain't surprised. I see type of nigga is you ain't shit. That's how it typically go. I'm like, all right, cool, I
No,
feel you do all this.
I mean I get along with Scorpios. I like Scorpios. It's probably like maybe one Scorpio I don't like because she don't never. No, two. It's only two because they don't shut the fuck up.
I
Hey,
don't
but you know what?
necessarily think you ain't shit as long as you tell the truth about the shit. As long as you not
Oh,
out here playing games.
well, I'm not.
If you're not
necess-
playing games, you can do whatever you want to do.
Oh, yeah, I'm very honest, but that's the character thing for me. Like I value honesty. I've never lied to a woman. I would. You know what? I'll say this. I can only remember one lie off the top of my head that I told a woman that I was dealing with, and it's a funny story. I was dealing with a woman for a long time, right? And she just had this mental block in front of having vaginal orgasm penetration. So the way I overcame that mental block was I noticed that while we was having sex, she would only get close when she felt like I was getting close. But I'm like, if you never had an orgasm penetration and I'm getting close, I might have what 10, 15, 30 seconds at the most from the time I start getting close to when I nut. If you ain't never had one before, when you start getting close, you might have another 2 to 4 minutes. So I waited about 3 minutes out from when I was about to get close, and I was like, I lied to her, like, "All right, I'm getting close," so that when I finally got there, we nutted at the same time. So after that, it was like a light switch flip. That's one thing I noticed with women with vaginal orgasm penetration, right? When it comes to orgasm from women, if you have a certain type of orgasm with enough times in a certain space of time, it's like a light switch. It don't turn back off unless the safety is gone. If the
Right.
safety might turn back off, but if the safety is still present, then once that spot gets activated, it's up and it's stuck there.
Let me ask you this question. Excuse me. Oh shit. Do you
But
believe overexcitement can interfere with performance?
yeah,
He said, I get teasing is pleasing in some cases. So I also have a similar question, which is similar. It's like too much passion in a relationship. Can that be toxic?
uh, yeah, I say that it depends on the people. It really does. I think most things depend on the structure. Does the structure of that relationship allow for that level of emotional passion? If you don't have the structure to be able to maintain that level of emotion, then it's not gonna work.
And what do you think the structure would be?
How do you resolve conflict?
Polarity,
Yeah,
the
polarity.
integration of polarity.
Yeah, you can't you can't be more feminine than the guy is masculine and think that it's gonna work. Like you know what I mean? Like like
It just ain't gonna work when the guy is feminine. Can a guy be feminine?
a man can definitely be feminine. I think that most men who are feminine and most women who are masculine are just animus possessed or anima possessed, and that's not their real makeup. I think that there are some people who truly are. Just like I don't have anything negative to say about the LGBT when it
Fuck,
comes to
you be using words I don't even know. Animus. Let me
yeah.
look this up.
Now the
'Cause
definition
maybe- I-
enough is the psychology I'll be talking about, but the animus is
How you spell it?
Animus. The
And it
animus.
said, okay, let me see.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Basically, the animus is a woman's relationship to her own logic, her relationship to the men in her life, how she views men, her perspective of men, and how she views her principles, morals, and values. That's the animus. So when a woman feels unsafe, her animus possesses her behavior and her mindset to where she's unable to think outside of hard black and white thought processes that lack holistic understanding. And when a man gets anima possessed, he gets in his feelings, he gets in his fifis. So I think that although I think it's possible for a woman to be masculine and it's possible for a man to be feminine, most people who do that are either doing it from trauma or a defense mechanism. Most men.
Let me just read the word animus so we can understand, right?
Go ahead.
So, a usually prejudiced and often spiteful or malevolent ill will harbored an animus toward them, right? That's number one. Number two is basic attitude or governing spirit, their disposition and intention. Number 3 is an inner masculine part of the female personality. Oh, and the analytical psychology of Carl. That's the person you say you like, huh?
Yeah,
Gustav Jung or whatever.
yeah.
Okay, and then what was the other one?
The anima.
Anima. Okay. I just want to be clear on these. Um, here. I don't have the what I'm looking for, but I'll just use this one. Okay. Okay. You see what I got? Where's the damn screen? All right. So, it says the feminine part of a man's personality, the part of the psyche that is directed inward, in touch with the subconscious. So persona and anima switch roles and merge in slow, smooth ways. Historical philosophy, the soul, especially the irrational part of the soul, as distinguished from the rational mind. So, but it says this is so anima and oh my god, what the hell did I do? Anyway, anima and animus are opposite of each other, which goes into the integration polarity. Am I correct? The
Yes,
anima and animus are opposite. So it's the animus is the interfemale, I mean the masculine and the female, and the anima is the feminine and the male.
exactly. But I think it's deeper than just because I will say this. Sometimes these definitions they sell the context short, right? And what I mean by that is that when it comes to the anima and the animus, it's more than just the inner masculine, the inner feminine. It's more so a matter of how you perceive nature of masculinity and principle, and how you perceive the nature of femininity and emotion in women, right? So it's more than just that the inner feminine inside of you. It's just it.
Mm,
Anima is his relationship to his own emotions and how he perceives women.
okay.
Okay.
This is deep. I'm gonna have to really dive in.
But
So,
It's,
how do a person become a submissive and get pleasure? Because that's what I want. I want to be pleasured.
you got to relinquish control. Uh,
How? How?
the,
How?
the level of pleasure you
yeah.
experience be equivalent to the amount of control you're willing to give up in the competency of your partner. I mean, that's the simplest way to put it. Like, the more control you get, the less pleasure you get. The more pleasure you get, I mean, the less control you have, the more pleasure you stand the chance of receiving.
Hmm. Okay, I still don't know how I'm supposed to move, but it's cool.
Oh, I could give you some
I need a
examples.
detail by detail plan because I want to be the one getting pleasure.
Yeah, if you want
I,
to be,
I want it to be interchangeable, to be honest.
yeah, I think that it's important to operate out of your primary role first, and then after that you've established that that can be done consistently, then you start diving into some other shit.
Oh, so make it boring or something. I don't know.
Not boring. It's just a matter of you want to be taking to certain peaks first, right?
Right.
Because let's say you were a man and you want to experience what it's like to be submissive, but you want the man to be submissive with you too. If the man is more submissive than you are, then you're not gonna respect him.
Right. Can you say that again?
Like,
I'm gonna make this a short right here.
Woo.
This
gotta
gonna
do,
be my short. Say that one more time.
gotta put first things first, right? If you want to experience what it's like to be submissive, that's cool. But understand, you're not going to respect the man if he's more submissive than you are. You're not going to respect the man if he's more feminine than you are. So you have to know what your priorities are, what you're trying to do, and focus on that. So how do you focus on being submissive? You focus on pleasure. You focus on the mindset of the individual, the person. You fixate on them and what they're trying to do to you, right? If you're focused on what this is how I want it to be, you're gonna stifle your submissiveness with your masculine energy, and it's going to make it difficult for them and make it difficult for you.
Hmm. Hey man, I gotta say that's facts. I ain't gonna lie.
That's the
That's facts. That's facts. But I got another question for you from one of our audience. Does a man really know if a woman faking orgasm?
It depends. I for the most part, I'd say no.
no, they don't. I was gonna say no, they do not.
I'd say you don't
Oh
know.
my god.
They do not know, honey.
They don't know.
But why
They
would
Yeah.
you
don't.
think about it? This is where safety comes in. If there's safety, then you're gonna have enough honesty to let the person know if you came or not, right? And if you're focused on receiving pleasure from a selfish place, right,
Mm,
then you fake the orgasm. Because why would you want this person to have the validation of feeling like they pleased you if they didn't, unless you're trying to manipulate them in some type of way?
right.
So
Well,
But
unless it was someone that you just really
no,
didn't care about to even tell them, it was like whatever, because it's not that anyway. So I'm out.
no, but see, I'm very honest about me getting my orgasm. But when it comes to me faking an orgasm, it's because I've already got my orgasm. Now I just want him to come.
that's different. That's a different thing
I
right there.
just so sometimes I'll be like, whatever.
But listen, I'll say this. I'll say this. I
But you
will
know
say,
what I'm saying? Like, I'll
I'm
be
not gonna
like
lie,
trying to
I've
make
done
me
it
like,
both ways.
yeah, whatever. Like I really do it, so I'll be like, just come, nigga, just come.
I'll
That's
say I've done
so
it.
what I wait, hold on,
Yeah,
Brody.
but
Wait,
anytime it's always
wait,
just come,
be I
just
can before I
come.
forget my thought. But to answer for me to answer the question, I think, Brody, tell me if I'm right or wrong. If a woman is faking an orgasm, then she's a feminine mask. No, wait, she's a feminine dominant.
In that moment, she is because she's lying. If you're anytime you're lying, you're feminine dominant.
But why does it
That's
really
not
necessarily have to
lying.
be
That's
like
not
you're lying?
lying.
It's
That's
not
not
lying. That's
lying.
not lying. That's just anything could happen. Like, what if you really not in the mood and you just like whatever? Come on, you might have some shit on your mind. Whatever. It's like maybe to
But you
this
want to
time.
please
Yeah,
him.
but I want to please my man. So come on, and it's not from a bad place, but it's just I just wanted to please you. So you can't take that to bad.
It is a lie. It's like, what if a
It's a
man at your joke make you feel comfortable and he don't really think you funny?
So it's a lie for us to
Uh,
turn our partner on. Make it make sense, bro. Because you just told me that you don't get pleasure. So when the person is not getting pleasure, they're doing other things to pleasure the other person.
Well, I'm saying this right here, right? I faked it before, but I've only like I ain't faked it.
Yeah, you just
okay.
told us the whole story about when you
Yeah,
Okay,
faked it.
okay.
yeah,
You said you
but what I say though? I admitted that it was a lie.
you
Oh,
think it's a
okay.
lie. Okay, we lying shit. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Okay.
We lying. We lying to y'all niggas out there. Can I say the N word on YouTube? We lying to y'all.
Just
We
to
is
make y'all
not
happy.
having orgasms and it does not feel that great. We just want you to do what you gotta do.
I say this right. It's one of those things where, if you honest about it, like to me, I love honesty in a woman. I love a woman. Like I love when if I'm having sex with her, she don't have an orgasm, or she just don't. Like, all right, cool. You know what? I get that. All right, then let's see how we can repair the situation. She's like, you know, I'm just not in that mood that much that night.
Can
And I'm
I
like,
ask you a question? I'm sorry. Would
what?
you let a woman sit on your face?
Yeah, of course. Why would I do that?
I'm just asking. I
Yeah.
was just think I had a thought about that shit. Like I need to do that.
You so silly.
What? I'm thinking about sitting on my motherfucking face, grabbing
Mm-mm.
his head, all that.
No, that's cool. I like that.
Is that dominant? Is that dominant? If I did that, or am I submissive?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that when we get into the conversation of like oral sex and stuff like that, that we blurring the lines a little bit between dominance and submissiveness sometimes, because it can be from either side.
I'm sorry. That vision just came across my head because I was like having this conversation because she said she's laughing at me because no, like I don't know why that vision came because we talk about sex. Now you know I'm off this sexual energy stuff. Now you got me want to comment. I don't want to. Okay, I'm sorry.
I think that
Yeah,
what you is when you get off this
man.
call your husband and you have you a damn good night.
No, because what time is it? No, I still got some time. He at work, so
That's definitely what I'm gonna do.
Because I think I want to sit on. Look, okay. Let me ask you this. Oh God, I don't want to be. And I'm trying to clean my words a little bit. What do you think about a 69? Right,
To
both
me,
ways. Now,
uh,
who's the dominant one? Who's the submissive one? If you
uh,
both doing a 69 and it's both ways.
I say
Okay, so I got a question. Go ahead. I got a question.
I
Go
don't think
ahead.
I don't think I've ever truly been beat at a 69. I think maybe one woman, but that was a woman who was like, it's weird because she could have vaginal orgasms, but she had a hard time having clitoral orgasms. Uh, but she had a really small clit too. Sometimes when women have really like sometimes the smaller a woman's clit is, the more sensitive it is. So it's like sometimes it feel overstimulated. So you have to know how to orbit. You have to know how to like give indirect stimulation to give her orgasm, clitoral stimulation. It's a different thing. But I say 99% of the time, it's like the primary giver of pleasure and the primary receiver of control is the person who's in the dominant position.
You right about the clit situation. The bigger the clit, no, wait, in reverse. I say the bigger the clit, the more sensitive it is. The
I
smaller the clit, the more it's sensitive, but it's like sensitive with penetration. Like
uh
the ones with the small ones, like penetration,
I,
and that.
I say that the smaller it, in my experience, it seems like the smaller it is, the more sensitive it is,
You
right?
think so?
Yeah,
Okay. I don't know. I don't deal with women.
yeah. It seems like the smaller it is, the more sensitive it is. But it's one of those things where it's like, but also, this no good conversation to have too. I'm gonna touch on this real quick too. Uh, Many women feel like they may be having clitoral or I mean, feel like they're having orgasms from sex when they're really just grinding a clit on the dude's pelvics, and there's nothing like that, but you're not getting the full experience unless you're getting blended orgasms.
You know what? Oh God, I don't want to tell this story
That is so true.
because you know what? Okay, have you guys? I'm whispering, y'all. Have you guys ever just grind on the penis part, the penis, and your penis to her clit and everything, and the shit. Okay, but like I had an orgasm like that before.
I didn't do that before. That's pretty cool though. But you know what's going on in, right? You know what's going on. So it's like that's cool. You know what? A lot the other week, well, maybe about a month or so ago, maybe a month and a half ago, I dealt with this girl. I felt like she might have been like used to be a stud or something like that. And she really wanted to have a lot of like foreplay centric sex. And that wasn't an issue for me because like I don't be trying to fuck everybody like that anyways. I like head and stuff. But I knew like by the end of the night, I probably spent like 20, 30 minutes like giving her like nipple orgasm, sucking on her nipples, and
Mhm.
then she grinded on my leg. You know what I mean? Like humping my leg like a dog to get her get off a couple times.
No, I said grinding on the penis, not the leg. I would never grind on nobody's leg. You know how sometimes you rub your penis on her?
No, I know what you're talking about there too. I done that too.
But I mean, you can really, if it's the clit, you can rub it on anything, and you can.
Like, I, oh God, this is a little explicit when you like
I'm just
go
saying,
in,
like you
go
can rub it on his leg if
like
you
rub it a little
stimulated on
bit.
that side.
Rub if you rub it a little bit right there, and then go up and down, mm, and then take your fingers and twinkle her nipples a little bit,
Oh Lord.
or take your thumb and play with her clit. Why you doing that?
Oh, you know what?
Both.
I got a special technique I be using sometimes. Y'all ladies feel free to use this. I'm gonna tell y'all a couple techniques. I'm gonna put y'all some sex coaching shit that I be doing, right? So y'all probably done did it already, right? But one way of doing it is like this. This is something I've done before with some of my submissives, right? So let's say I get a woman on the edge of the bed, right, face down, ass up, put her hands handcuffed or tied up. They don't have to be tied up, but it's better if they are. It's just that bondage thing. I like that. And you put the hands between her legs. She bent over, face down, ass up on the edge of the bed, with the feet off the edge of the bed, right? And then put the left thumb and her ass,
Mm,
right?
mm, 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 mm.
The two fingers, the index and the left thumb and the ass, the index finger and the middle finger of the right hand on the G spot. You know, with that come here motion. Then the right thumb on the clit, right? But
Okay,
but
that's like.
but
Wait a
I ain't done.
minute. Wait a
I,
minute.
I,
Wait a minute.
I ain't
That's
done yet.
like shooting a gun, bruh. You shooting that gun?
But I ain't done yet. I ain't done yet, right? And then but she's leaning off the she's off the side of the bed, right? So you're on the floor while you sucking the toes at the same time.
Oh my God.
Don't suck my
I
toes
don't have
too.
anything to say about this.
Husband, where are you? Husband.
Mm-mm.
You sucking the toes too? No, the toes, Miyaka, do not let no nigga suck your toes ever in life. It's a
Uh,
manipulation.
it's mm, it's
My husband,
I had somebody do it but it was a while ago. I didn't really like it.
I tell
I
you,
mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm not saying like I haven't had guys suck my toes, but I'm saying like really, really suck my toes, like how y'all talking about. Like no, like because I be like pulling my foot away, like okay, baby, come here.
No, see, the thing is, you got to connect it. It's like classical condition. You got to connect it together. So what I find is one of the best ways to do it, to really get a woman really into it, is like if you got her in like the missionary position where her her legs are up on your shoulders, and then you hitting that A spot or hitting whatever spot you hitting while you got the legs up on your shoulders, and then just start sucking on the toes, licking on the soles when she having an orgasm.
oh yeah, while her legs in the air. But
Yeah,
look, here go a question. How do you feel about toys being used in the bedroom during sex for
I
clitoris stimulation?
I like
Mm.
I got my own toys. I like toys. So to me, I like blended orgasms. One thing I realized is that sometimes it can hurt your shoulder. I don't know if any other man has experienced this, but trying to play with a woman's clit while you fucking her at the same time, you get a cramp in your shoulder. That shit get like
It's a way to do it.
it's a way to do it, but it's so much easier if you just got a toy or you get one of them vibrating cock rings. You can get them at Walmart. They like $24. You can go get you one of the vibrating cock rings, a good one, right? Or you go to sex shop somewhere in your area, get the vibrating cock ring, you put it on, and then sometimes like and really if you got stamina issues, this can help, right? Because I ain't got stamina issues, but if you got them, it can help. Because what you do is you hitting it, you got the vibrating cock ring on. If you feel like you're getting too close, then you just push the dick all the way in and just let the vibrator sit on her clit for a while you pushing on the bottom of the pussy. It's like it's foolproof.
You gotta have lube too. You got well, it could be lube from the vagina or regular lube.
And
But
I'm
when you put those toys on, I used to sell toys, and them toys always lube them up.
But
If
I'm gonna
you
say this right here too. This is something I will say too. When it comes to lube, people got to understand that it's not just about if the pussy can get wet or stay wet. Sometimes it's about if you're dealing with a thick woman. I like BBWs a lot of times. I mean, I deal with a variety of women. I like thick women. So the thing about thick women is that sometimes the pussy is wet on the inside, but the outside of the pussy it might be a little bit abrasive or a little bit like it might feel a little bit abrasive trying to get in initially. Sometimes you just need to put lube around the outside of the vulva where the vagina is at so in there. Like especially if you're blessed, because it's one of those things where you gotta lubricate around the perimeter of the pussy instead of just like or just lubricate the dick itself. Because at the end of the day, the pussy can get wet, but if the surrounding area is dry, it might hurt to get in.
mm. Okay. So I'm a little what time is it? I'm getting a phone call. Hold on, y'all. It's Craig. What's going on, bro? What? Huh, wait a minute. Hold on, hold on. Let me my mic. Go on, y'all go ahead.
What Craig talking about? Hold on, she was getting a phone call. But yeah, that's something I noticed right there. Who's still on the call? You still on the call?
Still, I'm on the call.
Yeah, but you ever experienced that before where you're wet, but I don't know
Come
your
here
body,
back in. Come back in.
but
I'm on the phone, y'all.
I
Hold
don't know.
on.
Where I'm wet, but what?
Like let's say you're wet, but the outside of the pussy is not wet, so it kind of hurts and it's kind of abrasive just to get the dick in if the guy's a little blessed. Sometimes you got to put lube on the outs, like on the vulva, like on the outside of the pussy, so it can get in there the first time. You know what I mean? Because people don't think about that. The pussy lips are what get chafed. It's not the pussy that gets chafed, it's the pussy lips. And if it ain't wet enough to where the juice is just coming out and it's lubricating the lips of the pussy, then it's like the vulva, I mean the labia, then that's really where a lot of the chafing and the pain comes from. You know what I mean? So I think it's really a matter of, sometimes it does take a little lube, but I think one of the best ways to deal with that is just to eat the pussy first a lot of the times. Not every time, but let's say you eat the pussy first, then there's some liquid that's on the outside of it so you can get in there a little bit easier.
Well, I guess that would be a good way.
Okay, y'all. So, it's been a wonderful show, and I really enjoyed you, Brodie.
Yes, it was so good talking to you.
Oh yeah,
I was muted. I'm sorry. I understand you better now, Brodie. I am. I am a fan.
Me also. I will check you out on YouTube.
I appreciate it. Y'all subscribe.
Respectfully.
If anybody on
I'm
here,
already subscribed. So everybody, tell us where you at. Tell us your Instagram. Tell us your YouTube, your Twitter, everything, all your social media links. Let us know. And if you have a website, what's going on with you?
so my website is about to launch soon. I got a woman I'm dealing with right now who's making that for me. So I
Hmm.
and but that's about to launch soon. I got my YouTube, which is Coach Brody Dharma, right? Just look that up. You'll find it. And then I got a Twitter, but I don't really use it like that. And I don't have an Instagram right now because they deleted me off of Instagram. And I got my Facebook. The best way to reach me is Facebook. And I'll say this: if anybody can put it up on the screen, put my Cash App on there. It's $AMA.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me. Damn, Brody. Let me spell your name right. COA. A minute. COACHBRODIE. What's your Instagram again?
I don't have an Instagram right now.
I mean, what's your? Is this Coach Brody on YouTube?
Yeah,
Okay. And what else? Coach Brody on Facebook too?
yeah. No, it's Brody Dharma on Facebook. That's it's my music page.
And
Dot
he wants
Brody.
to blast out the
How you
cash app.
spell how you spell Dharma?
DHAR
DHA, wait a minute. R what?
MA.
I don't type fast. Coach Brody. I'm gonna put FB. And then YouTube.
We gonna pass the collection. If anybody
Okay.
hit my cash,
And then what's your cash app?
it's $sign AMARBAL.
Wait a minute, wait. AMARI what?
BALL.
BALL.
Yeah, and if you click on it, it'll say Coach Brody. The username is Coach Brody. The cash app is $Amari Ball, and that's my.
Okay, I'm gonna just put your what the fuck? What is this thing? Oh, I put too many words or something. All right, I got to make separate banners. Fuck it.
But one thing I will say is this: before we get off of here, I know we ain't got too much time left. I really do want to emphasize how kinks fetishes can really improve, strengthen, or even save a relationship. I want to say that before I get off of here, right? I remember I was in a relationship. I was about 18, 19, and the woman that I was with kept gaining weight. And it wasn't all her fault. It somewhat was, but it wasn't, because she had things she was dealing with, hormonal issues. And it made it harder for me to be as attracted to her. And this was around the time where I developed a foot fetish. You know, you can learn or gain a new fetish or activate new erogenous zones. I was able to maintain my attraction to her through my foot fetish during that period in my life where I developed a foot fetish. I, I'm not a titty guy. I started liking her titties more because her titties got bigger as she gained weight. And so from titty fucking and foot jobs and stuff like that, suck toes, I was able to maintain my attraction for a woman who was good to me long enough for her to get back in shape. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Everybody needs to understand that people's bodies change with time. A woman may gain weight as she gets older. A woman may get wrinkles, may get a little bit older. Fetishize the things that you can't control if a person's good to you. That's some of the best advice I could ever give. If it's something that you can't control and this is a person who's good to you, fetishize those things. Sexualize. People talk about stop sexualizing. Man, shut the fuck up. Man, for real, for real. If you got somebody who you love, sexualize them. Like if you're a woman and you're with a man and you're having a difficult time with the sexual aspect of your relationship, find non-sexual aspects of him to sexualize. Right? So let's say I'm bald with a beard. All you have to
I
do is
cannot
the
get
narrative.
it to go.
What do you say?
I cannot put the banner up for the. It's giving me technical difficulties, but
Somebody
let
put
me just reiterate. So it's Coach Brodie on YouTube, right?
yes.
And it's that's COACHBRODIE on YouTube.
Yes.
And then it's Brodie Dharma on Facebook. BROIDIEDHARMA on Facebook. And then your Cash App is $AMARIBALL. Correct?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. I just want to reiterate that.
And I appreciate that. If somebody can put that in the comments, please do. And I want to stress this part real quick. Like I'm a bald man with a beard. It's different ways to create a narrative to sexualize the person in your life to be more attracted to them, right? Uh, because I'm a bald man, all like it's a motif. It's certain things I can do. All I have to do to make a woman very attracted to that is to give her some good dick, but not just that. But if a woman is dealing with a man who has a bald head, she sees that someone is masculine. Let's say it's like I tell a joke. I'm like, the bald head is like a crystal ball. And when she getting her pussy ate, it's like she's rubbing on the crystal ball and she sees her future, and her future is an orgasm. You get what I'm saying? It's like, it's take those things that you're attracted to about your partner non-sexually, make them sexual. A woman can be attracted to a man's height and sexualize it. A woman can be sexually attracted to a man's forearms, to his back, to his jawline, to his beard, to his eyes, to the intensity, due to how laid back he is. A woman can be sexually attracted to so many things. It's just about establishing a narrative about the things that you observe about that person that you can attach to something sexual. And the narrative doesn't even have to be 100% true. You just have to believe it. If you believe it and you encourage and you feed into that momentum of that narrative and that thought process, your attraction to that person will grow. It's like, here's an example for me. I like BBWs. Part of the reason I like them is because there's two things I really like. I like head and I like food. And is it true that BBW's always gonna have the best head? No, it's not true. But I can believe it for myself, right? I see a woman with a little fat on the back of her arms, and I'm like, man, she can cook good and she can suck some dick, crazy. And to me, that make me more attracted to her. Know who's good to and sexualize things about them that they can't change or that's not change, and that will make you feel more happy about where you are rather than looking for something that you don't have.
So, Brody, you saying the women with the big mama arms, they can do all the freaky shit. That's what you saying.
Oh man, they the best dick suckers, man. I ain't gonna lie
Hey,
to you.
hey, hey, I have to tell you this, right? That's rough. But yo, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I appreciate you for coming on, and I appreciate all the ladies for coming on too, on shooting the shit with the Imperial and the voluptuous, beautiful prophetess Mika Wash. You know, I appreciate that, and I'm gonna just say this, man. You got a show with show be real entertaining with you and DMG and y'all obsession. You know what I'm saying? So I would like to see that, man. but we getting close to 3 hours. We at 2 hours and 54 minutes, man, and counting, bro. And I just gotta say, Brodie, I appreciate you coming on, man. That's Brodie Dharma, aka the chairman. You know what I'm saying? You can go on his YouTube, like the prophetess said, and get that knowledge, get that counseling, get the game. Brodie shared with me Motifus, and I have been using Motifus to the limit. I've been pushing that imagination on them women, man. Pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. But Brodie will be back. He will be back at it again with DMG. And do not miss that. That's going to be one hell of a show.
And
But
I got some game from him too. I thank you, Brodie. Thank you for joining us, and we love you, bro. Thank you
Yes,
for
thank you. Much love.
much love, Brodie. Much love. And bro, you got to come back to fuck around. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to be back, Brodie. You get what I'm saying, Chief? You must come back. And that's an order. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. Everybody, I thank y'all for coming and supporting us on the show. We the Whole Effing Show, powered by Paradigm Shift. Shout out to Information Age. Shout out to the main man himself, the president and the chief and commander, DMG. Shout out to everybody that support us, Leandre, the super team. Shout out to everybody. Shout out. Much love to us all. And to if it
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
guys, it would not be for, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all and everything. So anyway, you got any closing words, Mika?
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to DMG, and in his words, Hotep, Shalom, God be with you, peace be on to you. I'm just adding shit now, but you know what I'm saying. And I love my brother, and I love my sister, and I am my brother and my sister keeper. I love you guys, and this is the end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Show who you are. Good rig. Is your kid and bid the forbidden? As it was written, you overbidding. With the heathens, karma is a bitch, so how you living? Pray for my enemies, unforgiving. Cast the pearls on hog moms and chitlin'. If it's too hot, get your ass out the kitchen. Finger licking good looking. Stewing in the stew, I'm cooking. You psyched out, paranoid and shookin'. Shit the table, spades I'm booking. Get prepared for this ass whooping. Listen to the words being spoken. You were talking, I'm awake and woken. While I'm spitting this, got your spit, got choking. Era up, a glance in my world, eyes shut open.
Oh, yeah.
Parallel in my mind, I'm chosen.
I'm still here.
Reverse
Hey, in the
time,
live, Mika.
heart
Still
frozen.
live.
Antarctica, cold as ice. Casted locks, rolling dice. Mean as nails. I'm nothing nice. They persecuted me like they rejected Christ.
Hey, Mika, in the live, we still live.
I'm trying to end it. It ain't letting me do nothing.
It says, hold on. Where it says live, that's where you ended.
That's you right there, Craig.
I think.
I think she
Yeah.
let. I think she left the chat trying to stop the live.
I gotta walk her through. Somehow it kicked me off admin. But that was a good show, man. Now DMG gonna be back, right? And y'all can talk about toads and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, he gonna be back with it. You know, he really gonna be back with it.
Hold up. Let's leave up out of here. I'll call you on your phone because we still live.